The sergeant of arms must arrest those people in the red overalls, pillagers of intellectual property. Lenze le mahodu mo.
Ke bo
Because it
mama
is
hodu,
people
ke
who
bo
can
mama
generate their
hodu,
own ideas.
ke bo
They are
mama
stealing
hodu.
a bunch of thieves.
Can we all remain standing for a moment of silent prayer and meditation? Thank you very much. You may all be seated. Good morning, colleagues. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our Honorable Premier, members of the Executive Council, presiding officers, leaders of political parties, members of the Provincial Legislature. Ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome, and the people of Gauteng. We have received the following apologies: Honorable Fuchs, Honorable Dos Santos, Honorable Engelbrecht, Honorable Miller, who are on a study tour. If it happens that they join online, please not be surprised. But I also want to apologize for something that was reported to us this morning. As members were coming in, there was a decision that has not been taken by JPC, that members were requested to either produce letters or even produce or prove that the laptop that they're carrying is yours. That matter was not discussed by the JPC, and I've immediately, as the head of the National Key Point, I've asked them to reverse that decision until the JPC sits and we look at why such a decision needs to be taken. So we profusely apologize to members, because if there was such a decision, we're supposed to send it prior for you to be on the alert. Honorable Minister, I'm not sure whether you were affected the way you are looking at me, but we want to apologize because we received a complaint this morning. My next announcement is on the issue of, today is the 15th of June. Tomorrow will be the 16th of June. And we all know what happened in 1976 around that time. And I hope, as members of the Provincial Legislature, will be on the ground to inform young people about what has happened, so that people are aware that history doesn't have blank pages. I was happy to see Honorable Makakula back in the House, as she was hospitalized in the past week. And we welcome you, Deputy Chief Whip. I know that you are a generation of 1976. Some of us were still very young, but we learned from people like you and Mam Doli in terms of what you did. So we're proud of our history. All what you need to do is to ensure that we we protect the democracy that you fought for profusely. So that is the only announcement that I had. The next announcement will be made by Honorable Mukwebo.
Thanks, Speaker. Today, the EFF would like to announce that on the 16th of June 2023, the Gauteng EFF and its ground forces will be descending to all venues where the so-called Nancy Ispan will be rolled out by the corrupt ANC MECs. We observe with disbelief the poster that bears the faces of MECs with the logo of the ANC, and they are masquerading as this program is the program of their political party. We will like to announce that fighters from all over the province will be occupying the space and ready to benefit from this government-initiated program. We observed 6,000 ANC comrades benefited from crime prevention wardens. This time around, we are going to make sure that all deserving young people of this province benefit from this program. The Premier indicated that at the ANC gathering that he has taken over all funded vacant posts from the departments. It shows and confirms that he doesn't have confidence in the departments of this province. The EFF MPs and leaders will be at these venues to monitor the process and make sure that transparency exists throughout the entire process. No public resources will be abused and looted for electioneering. It's time of elections. We are going to guard everyone who's going to masquerade and use the funds and the resources of this province as the ANC program.
BPS.
So the EFF leaders will be on the ground, will occupy the space and be with you and make sure that every young person who's looking for unemployment in this province benefit on this program. And we'll make sure it's not only ANC comrades, as the Premier has announced in this program of the ANC. The EFF will make sure that everyone who deserves the chance, everyone who wants employment, will be given assistance. We'll be on the ground with you, toe to toe. These things which are going to do, utilizing the faces of the province, using the logo of the ANC. It won't continue, and then we're going to make sure that we expose it, because it's not going to benefit our people, but only ANC comrades. We want every young person in this province on the 16th of June to join us, the EFF, on the ground in 5 corridors and make sure that they benefit on this program. Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable Masilela.
You lack originality, man.
We didn't know that we are taking place in such.
Honorable Masilela, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Revolutionary greetings, Speaker, and most importantly, our party to all residents in Gauteng. The EFF in Gauteng would like to remind the people of Gauteng of the EFF 10th year anniversary, which is now about to go down in less than 43 days, Speaker. All ground forces, commissars, and also Amakabandega Tambo, come and join the Festival of the Poor, arranged by one and only economic emancipation movement, the EFF. This event on the 29th of July is termed the Festival of the Poor. Kulelekani, all expenses from buses to food, entertainment, we will provide. Ndilibalantoni na? No, have been catered for. Yours, just never miss the date. You shall now, Deputy Speaker. 10 years, good 10 years of unbroken struggle. We welcome all non-partisan honorables members, including yourself, Speaker, the Premier and his cabinet, and all caucus represented here to be part of the historic event, which will be remind all of us that it is only the matter of time. Zizojiga izinto. Come the 29th of July. Ozani nonke. Siyabo.
Any other member who wants to make an announcement?
Honorable Speaker.
Oh, Honorable Chief Whip.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise this morning to congratulate all the more than 10,000 runners from Gauteng who participated in the ultimate human race, the Comrades Marathon. In particular, I rise to congratulate the Chief Whip of the ANC in Ekurhuleni, Comrade Jongi Zizwe Dlabati, who ran and completed the race. But furthermore, here closer at home in the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, I rise to congratulate the CFO of the ANC caucus, Ms. Mampiwe, who ran and completed this ultimate human race. Furthermore, Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate the Honorable Premier of the Gauteng Province, Honorable Panyaza Lesufi, who said in the SOPA what all the honorable members from the other side called pipe dreams, that he's going to wage a relentless war on the vacancy rate, and that he's going to wage a relentless war on underspending. I congratulate all MECs led by the Premier who have gone out in celebrating Youth Day by ensuring that all vacant posts are going to be filled. Thank you very much. Gauteng remains an ANC-led Gauteng provincial government. Thank you very much.
Honorable Kumalo, I'm not sure whether it's on the platform for the announcement. Okay. Thank you very much. Honorable colleagues, thank you very much. Honorable Chief Whip, thank you. In terms of Rule 120, Honorable Maslel, please. In terms of Rule 120, can we receive a motion without notice from the Chief Whip?
Madam Speaker and presiding officers, honorable members of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, our honored guests and the people of Gauteng. I, Member Elma Kubela, the ANC Chief Whip, hereby tables the following motion in terms of Rule 121C, read together with Rule 121 and Rule 122 as follows. Noting that the following report was programmed for today's sitting, Thursday, the 15th of June, 2023, as order number 4, that on the Environment, Agriculture, and Rural Development Portfolio Committee's Oversight Report, on the 4th Quarterly Performance Report on the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development for 2022 and 2023 financial year. I therefore, Honorable Speaker, request that the House resolves to give precedence to the following order in terms of Rule 121C as order number 1. That the Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee's Oversight Report on the 4th Quarterly Performance Report on the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development for the 2022-2023 financial year, I so move. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Any seconder to the motion? Honorable Malima.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to second. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. All not in favor say yes. Say no. Thank you very much. The motion is adopted by the House. In terms of Rule 79, subsection 1, the MEC statement, I'm aware that in the previous sitting, Honorable Kumalo was struggling to present his MEC statement, and we advised that, in fact, in terms of the announcement that was made on the day was that it will be made today, but we have since received an advice that they are going to withdraw the statement, so that we close it properly. Thank you very much. Can you therefore request the Secretary to read the first order?
Madam Speaker.
Sorry, Speaker.
Madam Speaker. Amendment statement was submitted on my...
Oh, okay. Okay.
Was submitted on my behalf.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, I'm in a hurry. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Speaker, I have a notice of motion as well that was submitted about 3 days ago.
You don't have to stand up. If I don't give you an opportunity to speak, please, can you sit down, Honourable Member?
Okay.
In terms of Rule 81, subsection 1, there are member statements. Honourable Sirota, you are the first one.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is a sad disgrace that in 2023, the residents of Everton in Mfuleni Local Municipality are using pit toilets. On Monday, I conducted an oversight inspection at Everton and was appalled to witness the unsanitary, inhumane and undignified living conditions that our people have been exposed to for over 30 years. During the oversight, I met Gogo Elizabeth Radebe, who's in late 70s. Gogo Radebe has lost all hope that this current government will fulfill its promises of improving her living conditions. Instead, she lives in fear of her grandchildren who risk drowning in a pit toilet. Madam Speaker, Everton residents are living in inhumane conditions. Their roads are a mess and residents are in dire need of dignified housing. There's nothing to show for millions of rands spent on the Everton Renewal Project, which was meant to improve the living conditions of these residents. I have today written to the South African Human Rights Commission to urgently seek its intervention to force the Gauteng MEC for Human Settlements, Lebegong Mayele, to eradicate pit toilets and deliver services to the residents of Everton. In 2024, a DA government will fulfill the failed promises of the ANC and deliver a better life for all. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, point of order. I have a notice of motion that was delivered about 3 days ago to the programme.
And so what is the problem?
Sorry?
What is the problem?
It's a notice of motion about load shedding that was delivered about 3 days ago to your office.
What I'm saying is, what is the problem? Because we're still on member statement.
Sorry? Sorry. Okay. Sorry.
Honourable Malima.
Thank you very much, Honourable Madam Speaker. In accordance with Rule 81, Sub-Rule 1, I, Honourable Paul Malema of the ANC, tables the following member statement on Youth Month and ANC-led government interventions to develop the youth. Madam Speaker, June is set aside in South Africa to honour the youth of 1976 who opposed the apartheid regime and played a very significant role in the attainment of our freedom. In mid-May, Statistics South Africa released the quarterly labour force survey, which indicated that 250,000 young people lost their jobs in the first 3 months of 2023. Honourable members, the ANC-led government, the ANC-led Gauteng provincial government integrated youth strategies vision is to ensure holistically empowered and sustainable investment made in young people to contribute meaningfully to a transformed, modernized and re-industrialized Gauteng city region. The ANC is pleased that the ANC-led Department of Social Development, Agriculture, Rural Development and Environment is making this investment through expanding opportunities to the youth. The department launched a state-of-the-art trade test center in Babsfontein, Ekurhuleni, which will equip the youth with technical skills that will assist them to be qualified artisans. Furthermore, the department unveiled a business hub which consists of 5 cooperatives specializing in poultry farming, welding, carpentry, electrical and plumbing. Madam Speaker, as part of its farmers and agropreneurs program, the department also handed over a tractor and a cold room to Sophie Musabeni, a young female farmer who is the owner of Veggies Farm in Mapletown, Boksburg. We must applaud the ANC-led department's investment in young people. These interventions are in line with the ANC-led government roadmap, Growing Gauteng Together 2020-30 priorities, which include education and skills revolution. The youth is the future of our country. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Honourable Mfikwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. We gather here today, 2 days after the MMC of Finance in the city of Johannesburg, MMC Dadamorero, delivered the city's 2023-24 budget of 80.9 billion. We commend the work done by the coalition partners in their attempt to stabilize the city's ailing financial position. This budget, Madam Speaker, is delivered under very difficult and challenging conditions due to the weak financial position in which the city finds itself because some multi-party government blew it. The city meets its revenue billing target financial year ending June 2022, but also went on and overspent its water and electricity budget, resulting in a deficit of 1 billion against a target of a surplus of 1.1 billion. Madam Speaker, this caused the city's resources the city's financial resources to be depleted. This, in simple terms, means that the 1.1 billion would have been put to good use in bettering the services that were supposed to be delivered to our communities. The ANC in Gauteng welcomes the city's prudent and responsive approach to the allocation of these limited resources, which we believe will eventually lead to improved performance of the city. We see this holistic approach, including improving productivity, managing human resources efficiently, reducing electricity as well as water losses, revenue enhancement strategies, also exploring alternative financial sources, applying cash management strategies, and implementing the district development model as an efficient mode of service delivery. We welcome the city's initiatives, Madam Speaker, in trying to address the negative impacts of load shedding, including employing energy-efficient initiatives and other relevant energy programs at local government. We also welcome the city's attempts through its agencies to reduce the impact of the tough economic conditions on residents and ratepayers either by rate reduction or zero increases. For example, through the property rates, picking up rates, and also maintaining the 6,000 free kiloliters of water to the residents of Johannesburg. These allocations, we believe, Madam Speaker, will ensure that the residents continue to get their services as they are aligned to the 11 priorities identified by the Government of Local Unity, which we support. Madam Speaker, we are confident that through the adoption of the budget under the able MMC for Finance, the city will indeed restore the city's financial position as they work towards making the impossible possible. I thank you.
Honorable Makwala.
Thank you, Speaker. The EFF in Gauteng notes with no surprise recent posters by ANC Gauteng where recruitment programs by the Gauteng provincial government are being advertised as official programs of the ANC. The EFF in the budget debates for various departments for the 2023-2024 year expressed concern towards the increase in recruitment expenditure for several departments, and that the ANC will certainly take advantage of recruitment programs where in-employment opportunities will be centralized towards ANC supporters and volunteers. Speaker, true towards the superior logic of the EFF, the ANC Gauteng went on to brand recruitment campaigns by the Gauteng provincial government as partisan programs of the ANC, where in various MEC will be hosting ANC partisanal programs, encouraging ANC youth to apply various vacancies within the provincial government, whereas these vacancies should be accessible to all youth of Gauteng despite political affiliation. The ANC in Gauteng, in its desperation to clench onto power, has went on to undermine the core pillars of our democracy as well as the separation of powers, wherein the party uses official programs of the provincial government in restoring voter confidence within the aligned ruling party. Speaker, the EFF Gauteng calls on all the members of the public as well as members of this House to hold the Lesotho administration to account in undermining our democracy. Furthermore, we call on all ground forces of the EFF as well as members of the public to exercise their rights in applying for the vacancies listed by the provincial government as well as occupying space at the so-called ANC Youth Day programs, in showing the public that these jobs and these programs are not necessarily initiatives reserved for ANC supporters, but rather all residents of the people of Gauteng. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable members, can I request those that are sitting in the gallery, these are not your meetings. Don't take any photos, you are not allowed to do so. Because if the member that is debating wants a video, there is a internal unit that is dealing with that. So I will want to beg that you don't clap hands, you don't participate in terms of the rules of the House. Honourable Njokwe.
Thank you, Speaker. Madam Speaker, on the 9th of June 2023, residents of Deep Slot marched to the local police station due to high level of crime in the area. This is the indication that citizens of this country are seriously tired of crime. 3 residents were killed in crime-related incidents without any intervention from police or justice being served. The families of Anele Botha, 17-year-old, Charlotte Manyana, Tukiso Tole, 16-year-old, and many others are still in pain seeking justice. The issue of crime in Deep Slot is well documented, and the police national leadership as well as the previous premier visited the area when the community protested against crime in this area. Speaker, crime in Deep Slot continues to escalate, and all what the ANC-led government can provide is temporary intervention. Soon as the deployment personnel leaves this area, criminals start terrorizing communities. In the latest incident, residents of Deep Slot demolished all houses harboring criminals. The community is frustrated because of slow response from the police in the area. The deployment of the police does not help them because they are patrolling on main roads only. They are not visible in the crime hotspots. These Deep Slot residents, which includes young people and the elderly, are living in fear daily. School kids, including matriculants who must attend extra classes, lives in fear of being attacked. Speaker, where are the crime prevention wardens that the Premier has recently hired? In which area are these ANC comrades deployed if Deep Slot is still experiencing high levels of crime? Or was this just another intention campaign strategy by the Premier and his MEC to use taxpayers' money to create jobs for the unemployed ANC members? Madam Speaker, our justice system is failing us. I do not blame communities for uniting against crime, but concern is when innocent people will be victims of vandalism. We do not see Operation Ukai Mulau on the ground. Where are they needed most? Thank you, Speaker.
That concludes the member statement as received. In terms of Rule 121, members who want to give notice of a motion, starting with Honourable Atkinson.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I, Honourable Patrick Atkinson, MPL, table the following motion in terms of Rule 121.5 with 1172. Noting the serious economic consequences of load shedding over the past year, resulting in job losses to almost 300,000 residents in the province, we call upon this House to debate the actions to be taken by the Gauteng provincial government to mitigate the economic effects of load shedding in Gauteng and to devise a plan to deal with load shedding over the short to medium term. Thank you.
Thank you. That the motion will be dealt with in terms of Rule 121, subsection 4. It will be placed in the programming committee and it will be considered so. Can I also request Honourable Diakha?
Thank you, Chair. The motion has been submitted already. It was previously the notice of motion was given, and the motion has been submitted to programming for consideration. It was it shouldn't have come back yet. It's the motion that was notice was given on the Uganda matter in June, earlier in June. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I think it will follow the same procedure as well in terms of Rule 121 as well. Thank you very much. Can we therefore request the Secretary to read the first order?
Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development and Environment for the financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Kekana.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Please pardon me as I will not be able to switch on my video, Madam Speaker. Greetings to you, Madam Speaker, our hardworking Premier, the Acting Premier and his team of dedicated members of the Executive, all presiding officers, the Chief Whip and Deputy Chief Whip of the Majority Party, fellow honorable members of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the people of Gauteng and the House at large. I, Refilwe Kekana, Chairperson of the Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee, hereby presents the Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly performance for the 2022-23 financial year of the Gauteng Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and Environment as follows. I will focus on the executive summary, the oversight on public involvement, committee consents and recommendations, acknowledgement and adoption, and will therefore request that the House consider other parts of the report as read. On the executive summary, the Gauteng Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and Environment spent 329,486,000 of the quota appropriation of 245,520,000, which is an equivalent of 134.2% of budget for the quota. The administration program spent 68,170,000 of the 62,266,000, which is an equivalent of 109.5% of the quota budget. And the Agriculture and Rural Development Program spent 156,574,000 of the 115,279,000, which is 135.8% of the quota budget, while the Environmental Affairs Program spent only 104,742,000 of the 67,975, which is an equivalent of 154.1% of the quota budget. The committee noted that the Agriculture and Rural Development Program reported low expenditure figures, which are at 78%, and depict a situation where large sums of money will have to be returned to Treasury as a result of having not been utilized. The committee is concerned that the department is still battling with managing the IDMS aspect that relates to supply chain management processes. And the return of large sums of money to Treasury is of great concern, given the revelations made at the recent FIS undertaking, where some farmers revealed that whilst their applications for support from the department had received approval, the funds have still not been provided. The committee is further concerned with the lack of spending on conditional grants. On oversight on public involvement, in line with its public participation mandate and the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, the Portfolio Committee invited stakeholders to their meetings, mainly to present their submissions and to observe committee proceedings. At all public engagements held throughout the year under review, the following challenges have been raised by stakeholders: the inadequate farmer support across all regions, drought, water challenges and shortage thereof, continuous underspending on conditional grants, the poor quality of infrastructure development, especially poultry structures, no opportunities for emerging farmers created to gain access into formal markets, lack of accessibility to tractors to some farmers, lack of proper housing for farmers, lack of mentorship and development and/or learnership opportunities for emerging farmers, lack of access to tools, inputs and machinery, lack of land ownership, as well as delays in the approval of making use of land for agricultural purposes by municipalities. Stakeholders also urge the department to empower extension officers through further training and capacity building workshops on all commodities. The committee acknowledges that the department responded to the submissions by acknowledging matters raised and committed to addressing these issues. Furthermore, the committee is in its continuous role of overseeing the department's performance will ensure that the department makes progress on these issues that I've raised. On committee concerns, the committee is concerned about the following: the lack of improvement on spending the allocated budget, continuously underperforming and not achieving planned targets, the lack of spending on conditional grants, failure to produce long-term solutions to address issues of sustainable food security in the province, the continuous failure to identify available land for rehabilitation and agricultural production and the implementation thereof, and failure to assist smallholder farmers to gain access to land for agriculture and agro-processing purposes. Continuous challenges of non-responsiveness of tenders, which affects service delivery. Failure to implement projects that will create green job opportunities around renewable energy sources as an alternative energy in the province, particularly on solar panels. The committee is concerned that the department continues to underachieve on its target for business owned by youth and people with disabilities. On recommendations, the Portfolio Committee therefore recommends as follows: that the department should provide monitoring and evaluation quarterly reports on the progress of how planned targets are achieved and the budget is spent on planned projects, and provide the committee with a detailed report on how the allocated funds on the conditional grants will be utilized to support the agricultural sector. Further, provide a comprehensive report or plan in place to address food security issues in the province, also including putting measures in place to assist community food gardens to be attainable. Provide the committee with a comprehensive report that includes a list of identified land for agricultural production, land to be rehabilitated, the criteria to be used to assist smallholder farmers to gain access to land. Provide the committee with a comprehensive report on media are utilized to advertise tenders and measures undertaken to attract bidders. To provide plans to create green job opportunities on the renewable energy sources as an alternative energy source in the province. And finally, provide the Portfolio Committee with a turnaround strategy on how procurement targets for women, youth, and people with disabilities will be achieved in the next quarters. The above reports should be submitted to the committee by the 30th of August 2023. On acknowledgements, Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the MEC, Ms. Mbali-Hlophe, the head of department, Ms. Kasela, and her team of officials. I further wish to acknowledge and express my gratitude to the honorable members of the Portfolio Committee for their hard work. And it is just an honor to lead such a hard-working team. Furthermore, the Portfolio Committee would like to express appreciation to everyone who contributed to this report, especially the support staff. And on the adoption of the report, in terms of Rule 117, Section 2, Subsection C, read together with 164, the Economic Development, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee presents the oversight report on the fourth quarterly performance report of the Gauteng Department of Agriculture and Rural Development for 2023-23 financial year and recommends its adoption. I thank you, Madam Speaker. Nyabonga.
Thank you. Any seconder to the report? Honorable Mukheti.
Member Ndlovu, I rise to second.
Oh. Okay, Honorable Ndlovu seconding. I now put the question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes, yes.
All not in favor say no. The ayes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Finance Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury for the financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Kanyile.
Thank you, Speaker. On behalf of the Chairperson of the Finance Portfolio Committee, Honorable Mnyai, I table the Committee's Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly performance report of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury for the 2022-23 financial year. Gauteng Provincial Treasury's response to the following strategic priorities, that is economic transformation and job creation and capable ethical and developmental state in terms of the National Development Plan, the medium-term strategy framework and growing Gauteng Together 2030, as well as economy, jobs and infrastructure with regards to CoGTA 2030. To this end, Gauteng Provincial Treasury achieved the following: to ensure sound and effective financial management, especially reference MTF budget was tabled. The wage bill was maintained at 56% against the target of 60% to ensure that the wage bill does not crowd out expenditure on service delivery. The department ensured that cash requisition of 155,432,958,127 rand did not exceed provincial liquid assets of 155,784,182,816 rand. The department further monitored compliance to 30 days payment of suppliers in all departments. Pertaining to sustainable local government finances, Gauteng Provincial Treasury achieved the following. In support of municipalities, the department held 8 IGR engagement with relevant stakeholders and 6 structured and targeted capacity building initiatives to municipalities in Gauteng was provided. It conducted 8 assessments of Municipal Finance Management Act compliance by the delegated municipalities and 7 adjustments budget conducted. And also, the department ensured that the provincial grants allocated to Gauteng municipalities were published. In an endeavor to create jobs, Gauteng Provincial Treasury achieved the following. The department employed 87 youth in development programs. In regard to ensuring a capable, ethical and developmental state, Gauteng Provincial Treasury achieved the following associated with increased compliance with legislated projects. 3 consolidated IYM reports for the department and 10 individual IYM reports for the entities were submitted with legislated frameworks. In supporting payments of suppliers on time, the department ensured that 98% of suppliers' invoices are submitted electronically against the target of 90%. In contributing towards economic transformation and job creation, GIFA reported on preparation of bankable projects for alternative financial mechanisms, which as Krugersdorp Game Reserve business case was approved by the Bukhali Municipal Council, the PWV-15 on the process of procuring transactional advisors to undertake the project preparation process. Speaker, may I request that the parts of the report which I won't read be taken as tabled. On committee concerns, with respect to administration, the committee is concerned about the attrition rate for women. It is inimical to GPT attaining to target of 50% of women in SMS position. With respect to project development and compliance, the committee is concerned about the effectiveness of GIFA's project stakeholder management to circumvent unnecessary delays for the seamless progression of projects. With respect to structured finance, the committee is concerned about the lack of synchronization in planning between GIFA programs, evidenced by a performance target predicated on a performance target yet to be delivered by another program. On recommendations, the committee recommends that the department assess and report on the extent to which its retention strategy reduces employee turnover, prevent attrition, increase retention, and foster employee engagement with a particular focus to women. The response must be submitted by the 28th of July 2023. That GIFA submit a plan elaborating on how it will improve its project stakeholder management and to become effective to circumvent stakeholders delaying progress on projects. That GIFA submit a plan on how it intends to improve its planning processes such that dependencies are taken into consideration. Even those 2 recommendations must be submitted by the 28th of July 2023. The Portfolio Committee extends gratitude to the Honourable MEC, the CFO and the Head of Department, the CEO of GIFA and the Head of Department, and the officials of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury. Appreciation of diligent dedication and commitment is also extended to members of the Portfolio Committee. The committee's gratitude is also extended to the support staff of the committee. Adoption. After due consideration, the Finance Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the 4th quarter performance report of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury on the 22-23 financial year. In terms of Rule 1172C, read with Rule 164, the Finance Portfolio Committee presents to the House and recommends the adoption of the Committee's Oversight report on the 4th quarterly performance report on the Gauteng Provincial Treasury for the 2022-23 financial year. I thank you, Chair.
Any seconder to the report? Honorable Lidwaba.
Dihamela second the report.
Honorable Lidwaba seconding the report. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we now have the next order?
Finance Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Gauteng Provincial Government for the financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Kanyile.
Thank you, Speaker. On behalf of the Chairperson of the Finance Portfolio Committee, Honorable Tim Nyai, I Kanyile table the committee's oversight report on the fourth quarterly performance report of the Gauteng Provincial Government GPG-wide for the 2022-23 financial year as attached, and request that the parts of the report which I will not read be taken as tabled. The Gauteng Provincial Government Quarterly Financial Performance Report is held by the Gauteng Provincial Treasury affords the Finance Portfolio Committee an opportunity to interrogate the finance position and monitor the financial performance of GPG departments for the quarter under review. It must be noted that the total provincial receipt amounted to 156.1 billion rand, or 99.95% of the total budget. Out of this amount, equitable share amounted to 122.1 billion rand, conditional grants, 26.5 billion rand, and own revenue collection, then 7.5 billion rand. During the budget adjustment process, the provincial allocation was adjusted downward from 155.347 billion rand to 155.346 billion rand, and the Department of Education was the major beneficiary of the process. As at the end of the fourth quarter, GPG departments requisitioned 155.35 billion rand, or 100% of the total appropriate budget. However, as at the end of the fourth quarter, an impressive 7.5 billion rand, or 104%, was collected. Comparative to the same reporting period in the 2021-22 financial year, when the overall expenditure stood at 96%, the overall GPG expenditure for the 2022-23 financial year is 155.3 billion rand, or 97% of the budget, of the adjusted budget. On the other hand, the overall expenditure on goods and services amounts to 32.5 billion rand, or 93% of the adjusted budget of 35 billion rand, with underspending resulting from slow supply chain processes, such as delays in the appointment of service providers and the late submission of invoices by service providers. It is also important to note that expenditure for items such as laboratory services, agents and support, outsourced services, transport and departmental activity, and medical supplies are at 102%, 117.6%, 119.5%, and 123.4% respectively, which shows the tendency to spiral out of control. Of the adjusted budget of 11.9 billion rand for the infrastructure program, expenditure of 11.3 billion rand, or 96%, was realized at the end of the fourth quarter. Most departments recorded expenditure equal and above 85%, with pockets of over-expenditure reported, and the least performing departments were the Department of Health, the Departments of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, and Agriculture and Rural Development at 74%, 69%, and 85% respectively. The overall expenditure of Gauteng Provincial Government Department Conditional Grant amounts to 24.4 billion rand, or 99% of the budget, or of the adjusted budget of 27 billion rand. And the performance was recorded in the Department's Agriculture and Rural Development at 60%, Road and Transport 81%, Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture at 82%, and Health at 88%. However, it is worth noting that the Department of Human Settlement, Cooperative Governance, Traditional Affairs, Community Safety and Infrastructure Development realized 100% expenditure on conditional grants, followed by Education and Social Development, both at 99%. Committee concerns. Committee is concerned about the following. The Department of Health, the department's under expenditure on its core programs and the resultant impact on service delivery. On the Department of Human Settlement, the committee is concerned that the transfer of funds to municipalities and entities in the final quarter of the financial year is suggestive of fiscal dumping. that the performance output of the department regarding housing units at 73% and the number of service stands at 86% were disproportionate to the 100% expenditure incurred. On the Department of Roads and Transport, the perennial under-expenditure because of delayed finalization of the new bus tenders is one of the concerns of the department. On the Department of Community Safety, that failure to spend monies earmarked for the implementation of the elevated priority within the department's purview casts doubt on its capacity to deliver services. And finally, on the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, the under-expenditure trend that has been replicated over the past few years due to the delays in grant funding following to the department, due to the delays in finalizing business plans. On committee recommendations, after assessing the GPG state of finances, the Portfolio Committee recommends the following and request for responses by 29 July 2023. Department of Health, that the department should devise and submit a plan detailing how it intends improving its performance on core programs. Department of Human Settlement, that the department submit a report explaining the rationale for the effecting transfers and subsidies to municipalities and entities towards the end of the financial year and not realizing the requisite expenditure levels. That the department submit a report explaining the discrepancies in the performance outputs, whereby the former is not commensurate with expenditure levels. On the Department of Roads and Transport, that the department provide cogent reasons for the continued delay in the appointment of bus tenders and the impact thereof on service delivery. On the Department of Community Safety, that the department should provide a report justifying its capacity to deliver services on the elevated priority within the department's purview. On Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, that the department should provide a detailed strategy on how it intends breaking the vicious cycle of under-expenditure due to the delays in finalizing business plan. On acknowledgements, the Portfolio Committee extends gratitude to the Honorable MEC Mamabulo, the Head of Department, Ms. N. Mnyai, and officials of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury for their cooperation during the consideration of the report. Appreciation for diligence, dedication, and commitment shown during deliberation on the fourth quarter financial performance reports process goes to all members of the Finance Portfolio Committee, including myself. The committee's gratitude is extended to the following support staff. The committee's gratitude is extended to the support staff of the committee. On adoption, after due consideration, the Finance Portfolio Committee adopted the fourth quarter finance performance report on the Gauteng Provincial Government for the 2022-23 financial year. In terms of Rule 1172C, read with Rule 164, the Finance Portfolio Committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the Committee's Oversight Report on the fourth quarter financial performance report of the Gauteng Provincial Government for the 2022 and 23 financial year. I thank you.
Any seconder to the report?
Di Gamela second the report, Speaker.
Who's that? Oh, Honorable Di Gamela seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Economic Development Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Economic Development, its entities for the 2022-23 financial year.
Honorable Matseke.
No, thank you very much, Committee Speaker. On behalf of the Portfolio Committee, I will be tabling the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Economic Development for the 2022-2023 financial year. The department realized 45.24% of the set targets, therefore attaining 19 of 42 against set targets, whilst entities attained 104 out of 143 planned targets, thus translating into a 72% achievement. This remains a concern for the committee as the department and entities continue to fail in attaining all targets. The committee noted that in the fourth quarter, the department has spent an amount of 451,743,000 out of a budget amount of 497,770,000, which translates to the spending of 90.75% of the allocation. It is therefore resulted into 9.25 amounting to 46,021,000 variance, which is far above the 3% threshold. All positions that have been advertised by the entities and the department should be expedited, notwithstanding the rationale that has been provided by the department, including entities in filling vacant positions before the end of the second quarter of the 2023-2024 financial year. With departmental entities not achieving all targets, the committee views this as unacceptable, as entities are at the core of service delivery, and these entities are key in unlocking potential jobs and are positioned to play an active role in the economy. Going forward, the department should ensure that plans to mitigate the non-achievements of targets are in place and ensure that the attainment of targets in this regard, the committee will continue to scrutinize the work undertaken by all departmental entities. The committee is of the view that the non-attainment of targets by entities seems to be a trend, as in the previous quarter, the entities failed to attain all such targets. Madam Speaker, I want to request that the part of the report that I will not be tabling be considered as tabled. The committee remains concerned on the Gauteng Liquor Board delays caused in implementing the automation system, and such concerns were raised with the department while scrutinizing the annual report of the 2021-2022 financial year. This was also a glaring concern when scrutinizing the fourth quarterly report, wherein the Gauteng Liquor Board failed to finalize this process, citing the following reasons, which are similar to those raised previously. A tender was issued, however, the tender did not attract successful bids. Therefore, the fact that a successful bidder could not be appointed resulted in the cancellation of the tender. The committee deems the response provided by the department as irrational, and as this project has been a persistent challenge for 2 previous financial years, the committee should be appraised on all the investigations that are underway within the Gauteng Gambling Board and the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller in order to root out any fraud or corruption, including those that resulted from wasteful and irregular expenditure. On committee concerns, the committee is concerned with the employees investigated on matters related to irregular, wasteful expenditure and fraud. Therefore, the committee recommends the following: that the department should update the committee on all investigations undertaken relating to the potential fraud, irregular and wasteful expenditure, and including those matters that have been referred and are currently investigated by the SIU within the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller and the Gauteng Gambling Board. A report on all these matters should be submitted on every reporting quarter until conclusion. On acknowledgement, allow me, Madam Speaker, to appreciate all members of the committee, inclusive of the MEC and the HOD and all senior officials within the department, as well as chief executive officers and CFOs of different entities within the department. My appreciation also goes to all the support staff of the committee. On adoption, after due consideration, the Economic Development Portfolio Committee adopted the Committee Oversight Report on the Gauteng Department of Economic Development fourth quarter report performance for the 2022-2023 financial year. In terms of Rule 1172C, read together with Rule 164, the committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the Committee's Oversight Report on the Gauteng Department of Economic Development fourth quarterly performance report for 2022-2023 financial year. Ke a leboga, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Any seconder to the report? Honorable Malema.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to second. Thank you.
Thank you. I now put the question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All not in favor say yes. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Infrastructure Development Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Infrastructure Development for the financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Modise.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. We request that parts of the report not read be considered as read, and therefore the report will focus on the following: on the introduction, committee concerns, committee recommendations, acknowledgements, and adoption. On introduction, Madam Speaker, this report has been developed in accordance with the sector oversight model known as SOM, the GPL Committee Oversight and Accountability Framework known as COVAC, as part of the GPL project on standardization of oversight, accountability, and reporting in Gauteng. It further outlines the macro assessment, which looks at the overall performance of the department, the micro assessment, which focuses on program by program performance. This is done to determine if there's a balance between the department's input, outputs, and the outcomes. The committee's approach thus focused on whether the department plan outputs have been achieved and whether the allocated funds have been effectively and efficiently utilized to ensure value for money. This assessment forms part of the oversight work that is continuously carried out by the committee to evaluate the implementation of programs against the set targets and expenditure for the quarter under review. Madam Speaker, committee concerns are as follows. With respect to Program 1, the committee was concerned with the over-expenditure under Program 1 and 2 in the current quarter, and yet planned targets were not achieved. On the same program, as in previous quarter of the current financial year, the committee was concerned with the non-achievement of the targets related to spending towards military veterans, owned companies, and people living with disabilities. With respect to Program 2, the committee was concerned with the poor management of projects by project managers. On the same program, the committee was concerned with the delays on completion of Tusanong OHS project. On the same program too, the committee was concerned that the department is still experiencing challenges with the non-payment of rentals from the tenants renting state residential properties. On Program 3, the committee was concerned that the targets for Program 3 were not achieved. The recommendations, based on the information set out herein above, as well as the committee concerns, the committee therefore recommends as follows. The department should ensure that there is alignment between the output and the input in terms of budget spend and targets achieved. The department to develop a strategy in ensuring the spending towards military veterans, owned companies, and TR programs. The department should consider having regular progress report sessions with the project managers, also to ensure that project managers are always on site to monitor the performance of contractors. The department should fast-track the completion of Tusanong OHS project and to report to the committee on the total budget spent on the project since the beginning to date. The department to apply stringent measures in ensuring that tenants pay their rentals, also that tenants should renew their lease or be evicted from the state properties. The department to ensure that Program 3 targets are achieved. All of these, Madam Speaker, their responses should be in writing and be submitted by July 28, 2023. On acknowledgements, I would like to take this opportunity to thank MEC Lebogang Maile, HOD Masawata Mutlaneng, and the entire department's executive for their efforts in the consideration of this report. We would also like to appreciate the diligent deliberation of Honorable Member T. Magagula, B. Mngube, N. Mokheti, L. Makubele, A. Fuchs, N. Diache, K. Hoffman, L. Masilela, N. Jokwe, and K. Tong. Further, I'd like to appreciate the support staff for their assistance and dedication in consideration of this work. On the adoption, in terms of Rule 1172C, read together with Rule 164, the Portfolio Committee on Infrastructure Development and Property Management presents before the House the Oversight Report on the Department of Infrastructure Development and Property Management, fourth quarter report on the 2022-2023 financial year for consideration and adoption. Thank you, Speaker.
Any seconder to the report? Honorable Mokheti.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I second the report.
Report seconded. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. Yes. The ayes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Roads and Transport Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Transport and Logistics, including Gauteng Management Agency and G Fleet Management for the financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Schneemann.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'd like to request that the parts of the report that I do not read are taken as read. And the report which I wish to present is as follows. In the quarter under review, the department managed to spend an amount of 2.1 billion across all programs, whilst G Fleet spent 242 million. In terms of the expenditure per program, the department transferred 710 million of the allocated budget to the Gauteng in the quarter under review. The committee noted that the other 4 programs, namely administration, spent 115 million, transport infrastructure spent 643 million, transport operations spent 620 million, and transport regulation spent 88 million. As at the end of the quarter, the committee noted that the department's remaining budget allocation amounted to 790 million, whilst G Fleet's remaining allocation amounted to 52 million. Under the transport infrastructure program, the committee noted that the department was able to meet 67% of its planned targets in the implementation of infrastructure projects under the planning, design, construction and maintenance sub-programs, and these include the completion of detailed designs for the K111, the K43 and the R59 pedestrian bridge, as well as the continuation of construction of the K46 William Nicol, the K69 Solomon Maklangu, the R82 Phase 2, the K73 Woodmead Drive, and other projects. The committee further noted that the department was experiencing challenges with contractors' financial constraints on the D483, and this has resulted in the project being stopped. And furthermore, the committee noted that 4 projects were behind schedule, and these included the K46, the K69, and the K31, whilst 4 were still stagnant, mainly due to court interdicts, and these included the K148, the K60, and K56. On the appointment of the new subsidised bus contracts, the committee noted that the department has resolved to renew contracts on a month-to-month basis pending the finalisation of the negotiated contracts process, which is underway since the expiration of bus contracts under the Public Transport Operations Grant in March 2023. In relation to the entities, the committee noted that both entities were able to meet most of their planned service delivery targets. With regards to G Fleet, the consistent challenges pertaining to the timeous receipt of outstanding debts within 30 days from both the national and provincial client departments has continued to hamper the functionality of the entity, noting that some of the client departments are failing to adhere to payment agreements, whilst others are disputing invoices and calling for investigations. The committee will continue to monitor the implementation of intervention measures in place for the implementation of infrastructure projects, particularly projects that were deferred to the next financial year due to reasons provided by the department and the impact these deferred projects may have on the implementation of planned targets for the next financial year. Furthermore, the committee noted that the department will have to enhance its implementation measures in dealing with the payment of G Fleet outstanding debts and invoices by client departments to ensure the sustainability of the entity in the long run. I wish to move to the committee's findings and concerns, which are as follows. With respect to the spending of the allocated budget, the committee is concerned about the underspending realised in the current financial year, noting that the allocated budget of the department was adjusted downwards during the adjustment budget process to allow for surrendering of funds on planned surrendering of funds on planned activities that could not be implemented in the current financial year. With respect to infrastructure projects, the committee is concerned over the continuous delays in the implementation of infrastructure projects due to persistent challenges that the department is continuously failing to resolve. With regards to the subsidised bus contracts, the committee is concerned over the management and operations of these contracts, in particular the Hammanskraal area, wherein routes are not being serviced as per contract, and the Brakpan area, where the contractor has not been appointed to service the area since the surrendering of the contract by the Ekurhuleni municipality. And lastly, with respect to payment of outstanding debt by client departments, the committee is concerned over continued failure by the client departments to abide by the settlement agreements entered into with G Fleet on the payment of long outstanding debts. Furthermore, The committee is concerned over the disputed invoices and investigations which are being conducted, noting the impact that these may have on the sustainability of the entity in the long run. I move on to the committee's recommendations, which are as follows, and the committee requests that written reports be provided by the 31st of July of this year. 1, that the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the implementation of intervention measures that were in place and progress thereof to achieve planned service delivery targets and to curb underspending within the department, particularly under the Transport Infrastructure Program for the quarter under review. 2, that the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the developments with regards to the proposed revised intervention measures, revised timelines and progress thereof on the implementation of infrastructure projects that were deferred to the next financial year. 3, that the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the implementation of intervention measures that are in place to ensure the appointment of new subsidized bus contracts, taking into consideration the challenges in Hammanskraal and the lack of service in the Brakpan area. And lastly, that the department and G Fleet management should provide the committee with a detailed report on the intervention measures in place and progress thereof for the payment of outstanding debts by owing clients. On invoices subject to disputes and investigations, the department should provide the committee with a proposed implementation plan and progress thereof on resolving the challenges that have been raised. I wish to express appreciation to all members of the Portfolio Committee for their participation in the oversight process on the fourth quarter, including our thanks to the MEC Kiriboni Diali Klavela, the HOD and officials from the department for their cooperation during this particular process. We'd also like to express our sincere thanks to the committee support team for their work and their efforts in ensuring that this process took place smoothly and the subsequent compilation of the report for the committee. After due consideration, the Roads and Transport Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the Gauteng Department of Transport and Logistics, Gauteng Management Agency, and G Fleet Management fourth quarterly performance report for the 2022-2023 financial year. In terms of Rule 117(2)(c), read together with Rule 164, the committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the committee's oversight report on the Gauteng Department of Transport and Logistics, Gauteng Management Agency, and G Fleet Management fourth quarterly performance report for the 2022-2023 financial year. I thank you.
Thank you. Any seconder to the report?
I second the report, Speaker.
Honorable Nel seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Cooperative Government and Traditional Affairs E-Government Research and Development Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Corporate Government and Traditional Affairs for financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Malema.
Thank you once more, Honorable Speaker. Please note very kindly that I have the honor of the chairperson of the committee on CoGTA and eGov, Honorable Member Fasaya Hassan, to present and table the committee's report on the fourth quarterly performance of the Department of CoGTA for 2022-2023 financial year. Madam Speaker, please note that the chair is out of town on legislature business. Hence, she is unable to present this report. In the interest of time, Madam Speaker, may I graciously request that part of the report that I'm not going to read be considered as duly read and tabled. I will present the summary of the report, committee's concerns and findings, recommendations and acknowledgement. On the summary, the Portfolio Committee noted that the department has spent 165,320,000, which constitute 111% of its budget against an allocation of 149,610,000 for the quarter under review. The variance on over expenditure reported it's 15,710,000, which constitute 11%. However, in terms of the total budget, the expenditure to date, the department has spent 97% of its annual budget for 2022-2023 financial year, Madam Speaker. The department reported having incurred fruitless, wasteful, and irregular expenditure of 42,102,000 during the quarter under review. Furthermore, the department was unable to pay 100% of its service providers within the stipulated 15 days time period. And the 94% of payments have been processed. The department also reported that 2 voter education has been conducted from different regions of Gauteng. Furthermore, ward committees are fully functional across 9 municipalities. The department further reported that there was no monitoring on the implementation of gender-based violence and femicide responsive programs due to a lack of capacity. In terms of enhancing revenue collection of municipalities, the department supported local government to implement the simplified revenue plans. On risk assessment, Madam Speaker, the Portfolio Committee noted the inability to effectively support municipalities to be financially viable, disruption of the administrative and political operations in hung municipalities, inadequate support for municipal service delivery on infrastructure projects, poor support for local economic development in municipalities, to mention but a few. On committee findings and concerns, Madam Speaker, as of the previous financial year, the budget of the department is not aligned with the performance targets. Quarter 4 expenditure was 111%, and the performance target was 86%. The department incurred fruitless, wasteful, and irregular expenditure of 42,102,000 during the quarter under review. Only 9 municipalities have fully functional ward committees. Due to lack of capacity, the department did not monitor the implementation of gender-based violence and femicide. The inability of the department to effectively support municipalities to be financially viable, especially those in hung municipalities. And on recommendation, Madam Speaker, it is recommended to the department that by no later than close of the business, the 31st of July 2023, the department should ensure that the budget is properly aligned to the performance targets. The department spending during the quarter under review was at 111%, whereas the performance targets was 86. This shows the misalignment of the expenditure and performance of the department's target during the quarter under review. The Portfolio Committee has picked up this in the last financial year, 2022-2023, and has advised the department to cap this not to become a trend. The department should also provide the Portfolio Committee with reasons for incurring fruitless, wasteful, and irregular expenditure during the quarter under review. The department should also provide the Portfolio Committee with measures that will be initiated to avoid fruitless, wasteful, and irregular expenditure in future. The department should ensure that 11 municipalities in the province have fully functional ward committees to strengthen participatory democracy. Ward committees are representatives of the communities in the municipal council. The department should also provide the Portfolio Committee with remedial plans to ensure that the targets to monitor gender-based violence and femicide is implemented and fully capacitated to reduce the acts of gender violence in the province, especially on women and children. The department should put stringent measures in place to ensure that municipalities, especially those in hung municipalities, are effectively supported to be financially viable, thus ensuring political and administrative stability. And all of those recommendations, Madam Speaker, are expected to be met by no later than 31st of July 2023. This will ensure adequate support for municipal service delivery, amongst others, infrastructure projects and local economic development in municipalities. The department should also report to the Portfolio Committee on a quarterly basis on the progress made to ensure that municipalities are capacitated to be financially viable. On acknowledgement, Madam Speaker, the Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance, Traditional Affairs, Research and Development, and E-Government wishes to thank the MEC for CoGTA and e-government, Honorable M. Kumalo, the head of the department, Dr. D. Buckley, and his team. The chairperson further wishes to appreciate the diligence, dedication, and commitment shown during deliberations on the detail of the fourth quarterly performance report of the Gauteng Department of CoGTA for the 2022-2023 financial year. To all members of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Member DP Malema, myself, Honorable Member PB Ngube, Honorable Member Andy Yacher, Honorable Member ST Msimang, Honorable Member A. Dilange, Honorable Member DK Adams, Honorable Member BW Dlamini, Honorable Member P. Atkinson, Honorable Member P. Makwala, and Honorable Member N. Jonkwe. The committee's gratitude is extended to the following support staff. Group Committee Coordinator Ms. Z. Panzwa Mbalo, Senior Researcher Dr. S. Nenweli, Senior Committee Coordinator Ms. M. Mlote, Committee Coordinator Ms. J. Nyembe, Researchers Mr. M. Tsetla, Mr. S. Nene, Media Officer Ms. P. Bulasingobo, Information Officer Mr. L. Ngube, Committee Administrators Ms. N. Ntembu, Ms. C. Dibier, Service Officer Ms. C. Ntetwa, and Hansard Recorder Mr. N. Mbonani. On adoption, Madam Speaker, in terms of Rule 117, Sub-Rule 2C, read together with Rule 164, the Oversight Portfolio Committee on CoGTA and eGov presents the Oversight Report on the quarterly performance of the Gauteng Department of CoGTA for the 2022-2023 financial year and recommends for its adoption by the House. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Any seconder?
I rise to second the report, Madam Chair.
Honorable Diakhe, seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. All not in favor say no. The ayes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Cooperative Government's Traditional Affairs, Research and Development and E-Government Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of E-Government for financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Malema.
Thank you once more, Madam Speaker. Once again, please note very kindly that I have the honor of the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on CoGTA and e-Government to present and table the committee report for quarterly performance of the Department of e-Gov for 2022-2023 financial year. And in the interest of time, Madam Speaker, please consider part that I'm not going to read as duly read and tabled. I will only focus on the summary of the report, findings and concerns of the committee, recommendations and acknowledgement. This report to assess the fourth quarter performance of the Department of e-Government would focus on non-financial and financial performance of the quarter. The department is mandated to implement the e-government strategy of Gauteng City Region, which aims to consolidate back-end systems and processes to bring about better frontline service delivery to the Gauteng province community. This is achieved through the development of information communication technology policies and standards and the rollout of the Gauteng broadband network, which connects all government buildings and various public services access points. The department was appropriated an amount of 1.7 billion to fund 3 programs, namely administration, information communication technology, shared services, and human resource services. At the end of the fourth quarter, the department expended an amount of 1.5 billion, which is 92% of the total allocation of the 2022-2023 financial year. The under-expenditure is attributed to various factors, including the funded vacant posts across all programs, delayed procurement processes, limited funds to build new sites, and late payment of suppliers. Recruitment processes to mitigate the under-expenditure are underway to fill the funded post. However, there is a reported challenge of staff being poached. As a result, posts perpetually remain vacant since the department is not able to counteract any offers of high salaries by private institutions. To mitigate the delayed procurement processes that have a negative impact on the GBN targets, the department will collaborate with suppliers to improve equipment delivery timelines. The challenge of limited funds will be resolved by reviewing the budget to identify non-essential expenses and redirect the funds to core services and projects. Madam Speaker, the core function of the department is implemented in Programme 2 on Information Communication Technology Shared Services. It is under this program that the department is able to roll out the GBN project. During the quarter under review, the department provided network connectivity to the Gauteng provincial government. Thereby, departments had 100% server uptime, allowing employees to conclude tasks without system downtime. Various departments conducted transversal human resources services utilizing automated systems, which reduced the turnaround time to conclude tasks. To ensure that the province built the ICT skills base needed to drive digital transformation, youth were trained in ICT applications. The department also partnered with the private sector to place young ICT participants in various ICT organizations in a quest to develop their skills. ICT surveys, Madam Speaker, were conducted to gauge areas of dissatisfaction by client departments, and the analysis of received responses provides the department with insight to identify and mitigate negative feedback. Through the Human Resource Service Program, which is assigned to optimize, digitize, and promote HR services-related business processes, the department conducted advocacy workshops with GPG entities. The purpose of the workshops are to promote the use of e-services in order to promote business processes efficiencies. This shows a commitment to continually modernize human resources business processes within the province, Madam Speaker. Details on any other committee. During the adjustment period, the department received a mandate to install crime-fighting equipment in identified areas. The mandate is an elevated priority of the province. The department reported that the targets and the budget allocation of the equipment are centralized and reside with the Department of Community Safety. The portfolio committee is concerned that the department reports on the implementation of the mandate. However, there are no set targets and budget allocation for appropriate monitoring and oversight. On findings and concerns, Madam Speaker, specifications of ICT skills development program offered to citizens, reduction of GPN building targets, unclear and funded mandate on crime fighting priorities are of a serious concern. And on recommendation, Madam Speaker, the committee recommends that by no later than 31st of July 2023, the department should provide the specification and accreditation of the ICT skills development programs offered to citizens, and it should also provide the demographics of the recipients of the programs. Moreover, the department should provide a plan to verify the implementation of the ICT skills provided to beneficiaries. The department should also motivate to GPT to increase the budget allocation for the build and installation of new GPN sites. The department should also set clear and measurable targets for the new elevated crime-fighting priorities, such as the deployment of drones, installation of facial and car registration number recognition, CCTVs, and panic buttons. The department should motivate to Gauteng Provincial Treasury to move the budget to the priorities from the Department of Community Safety so that the function is properly resourced, Madam Speaker. On acknowledgement, Madam Speaker, the Portfolio Committee extends gratitude to the Honourable MEC A.M. Kumalo and officials of the Gauteng Department of E-Government for their cooperation during the consideration of the report. Appreciation for diligence, dedication, and commitment shown during deliberations on the fourth quarter performance report 2022-2023 financial year process goes to all members of the Cooperative Governance, Traditional Affairs, E-Government and Research and Development Portfolio Committee, Honourable Member P. Ngube, Honourable Member P. Malema, of course myself, yes, Honourable W. Majeke, Honourable N. Diacher, Honourable S. Msimanga, Honourable N. Jonkwe, Honourable P. Makwala, Honourable A. Dilange, Honourable D. Adams, Honourable B. Dlamini, and Honourable P. Atkinson. The committee's gratitude is extended to the following support staff: Group Committee Coordinator, Ms. Z. Panzwambalo, Senior Committee Coordinator, Ms. M. Mulote, Committee Coordinator, Ms. J. Nyembe, Researchers, Mr. M. Tsetla, Mr. S. Nene, Media Officer, Mr. P. Bulasikobo, Information Officer, Mr. N. Ngume, Committee Administrators, Mr. N. Mtembu, Ms. C. DPR, Service Officer, Ms. C. Mtetwa, and Hansard Recorder, Mr. N. Mbonani. On adoption, Madam Speaker, in terms of Rule 117, Sub-Rule 2C, read together with Rule 164 of the Standing Rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the Cooperative Governance, Traditional Affairs, E-Government and Research and Development Portfolio Committee presents the Oversight Report on the fourth quarter performance of the Gauteng Department of E-Government for 2022-2023 financial year and recommends for its adoption, Madam Speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any seconder to the report?
I rise to second, Madam Chair.
Honorable Tiaka seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Human Settlements Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Human Settlements for the financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Mukhali.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I, Honorable Refilo Mokhale, the Acting Chairperson for Human Settlement Portfolio Committee, tables the Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly performance of the Gauteng Department of Human Settlement 2022-2023 allocation as follows. Madam Speaker, please allow me to present part of the report that I'm not going to read as read. The Portfolio Committee noted that the department received 6.4 billion. The budget of the department was adjusted to 6.6 billion during the second adjusted process. We saw the budget of the Gauteng Department of Human Settlement being cut by 200 million, which was as a result of dissatisfaction of the reporting regarding the performance of UISP. The department allocated a total of 1.8 billion in the fourth quarter, and as at the end of the quarter under review, the department managed to spend 2.6 billion, which translates to an overall expenditure of 189%, and the department was supposed to spend 100% by the end of the quarter under review, and has overspent its quarterly budget by 39%. The department's service delivery implemented through 4 key programs and allocated the budget as follows during the quarter under review. Program 1, administration, was allocated 187.7 million, and department spent 317.4 million, registering an over expenditure of 170%. This allows the program overspending by 70%. Program 2, housing needs, planning and research, was allocated 6.4 million, and the department managed to spend 4.5 million, registering an under expenditure of 70%. The committee should note that this program has a history of underspending. Program 3, housing development, was allocated 1.6 billion, but the department spent 2.1 billion, registering an expenditure of 135%. The program overspent its budget by 35%, and program 4, housing asset management and property management, was allocated 8.9 million, but the department spent 129 million, registering a 160% expenditure. The program overspent its budget by 60%. The Portfolio Committee noted that the department, in terms of the number of breaking new ground houses delivered. The planned target was 1,816, and this was achieved as 3,119 was realized. With regard to the number of service sites delivered, the planned target was 2,678, and this was achieved as 2,953 was accomplished. On the number of approved beneficiaries allocated available housing units, the planned target was 1,500 and 2,363 approved beneficiaries were allocated to available housing unit. In relation to the number of service sites procured for the private sector each financial year, the planned output for the quarter under review was 860. However, 548 was achieved. In terms of the rent value of funding facilitated for bulk infrastructure to local municipalities per financial year, the planned target was 118 billion, and this was not achieved as 264 billion was realized. This was achieved. Regarding the Gauteng Department of Human Settlement focus policies reviewed per financial year, the department planned to review 5 policies, and this target has been achieved as 23 policies were achieved. In terms of reviewing the Gauteng Human Settlement Special Master Plan, the plan was reviewed, and Gauteng multi-year project pipeline project bank has been updated. With regard to the number of formalized townships per financial year, the planned target during the quarter under review was 10, and no township formalization was formalized. On a number of integrated implementation program for priority development area completed per year, the planned target was 4, and this was not achieved. The department shows that a total of 2,077 posts 1994 title deeds were registered against a plan of 3,691. According to the department, is due to delay in finalization of township formalization. Moreover, post 2014 title deeds registered, the planned target was 600, and this was not achieved. In terms of pre-1994 title deeds registered, the planned target was 91, and it was not achieved. Madam Speaker, committee findings and concerns. Portfolio Committee noted that at the end of the quarter under review, the department has overspent its quarterly budget by 39%. The Portfolio Committee noted that there is no correlation between expenditure and delivery, as a department did not achieve most of their targets. The Portfolio Committee noted that there was a number of jobs created through human settlement initiatives. However, details on the number and nature of jobs created was not provided on the committee. The Portfolio Committee remains concerned with the insufficient bulk infrastructure, as this poses a risk on the development of housing and mega projects. On committee recommendations, the committee should provide reasons for overspent expenditure. The department should submit a detailed report on why there is a lack of correlation between the expenditure and performance. Provide a detailed report on the number and nature of jobs that have been created through human settlement initiatives. The department should submit a progress report on ways and addresses address the issue of insufficient bulk infrastructure, the department should submit a detailed report on how women, youth, and people with disabilities will be empowered through human settlement initiative. Provide reasons for not being able to meet a planned target of 41,000 for 1994 title deeds registered. On acknowledgement, Madam Speaker, the Human Settlement Portfolio Committee wishes to thank the MEC for Human Settlement, Ntate Lebogang, the head of department, Ms. Mbajwa, and her team. On behalf of the chairperson, I also further wishes to acknowledge and express her gratitude to all honorable members for their participation. Furthermore, Honorable Speaker, the Portfolio Committee would like to express appreciation for the contribution of all support staff for their dedication and acknowledgement. On adoption, in terms of Rule 1172 of C, read together with 164, the Human Settlement Portfolio Committee present the Oversight report on the fourth quarter performance of the Gauteng Department of Human Settlement for the 2022-2023 financial year and propose recommendation and its adoption. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any seconder to the report?
Madam Speaker, thank you. I rise to second.
Honorable Daba seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Health Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Health and Wellness for the financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Dr. Dikhamela.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Tonakgolo ya Gauteng, Honorable Lesufi, Sefepi Segolo sa Mokgatlo o Mogolo wa Gauteng, Honorable Makubela, le lena maloko ka moka thobela ka mo ntlong kgethwang eo le leng go yona. Let me take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, that parts of the report that I will not be able to read be considered as read. The total appropriation adjusted budget for the department for the year 2022-2023 financial year was set at 61 billion. By the end of the fourth quarter, the department spent 58 billion, amounting to 95.6% of its overall appropriation adjusted budget. 8 main programs were funded under this vote for, and Program 8 is where underspending was mostly realized because of its more contractual obligations. As envisaged by the committee, by the end of the current financial year, administration program overspent to the tune of 125.3% as a result of accruals on payments towards medical legal claims as the main contributor towards that overspending. The committee is of the view that the mediation plan to explore other avenues of mediation and further decreasing the medical legal claims that are straining the budget of the department is inefficient, and further other methods to deal with this problem should be sought for by the department. The department set out 154 targets that were addressed for performance on service delivery. By the end of quarter 4, 78 targets were achieved. Performance is noted to be misaligned with the expenditure for the quarter under review. The department conducted the following campaigns in the quarter under review. 23 physical activities program were established in all districts. A food control forum was established to serve as an interim regulatory arm and was launched on the 7th of June 2023 in Tshwane, and 3 consultative meetings were held, and food control blitz was done on the 22nd of March at Gauteng Hostel. Health Promotion Garden, was launched at Eagle Daycare Center Childhood in Alexander on the 10th of February. The department must continuously review and strengthen its spending pattern. The department to outline plans and strategy on how to address the accruals. Further, the department to ensure proper alignment of its financial performance against the target performance, and the department to ensure that there is proper working strategy in place in order to expedite the delays in projects and address the underperformance in Program 8. Concerns, Honorable Speaker, the committee is concerned that medical legal claims mediation strategy is not addressing the costs that leads to these claims. The committee is further concerned with slow progress in implementing the health information system. Committee recommendations. The department should provide detailed report outlining planned strategies to ensure alignment of target performance to budget expenditure. This is expected on the 28th of July. Detailed report on planned strategies, including implementation plan in order to improve loss to follow up to patients on treatment. This is also expected on the 28th of July, 2023. The department to provide a report on the incidents where patients were denied access and were not provided with necessary medication. This also should be reported to the committee at least by the 28th of July, because the mitigation strategy to ensure that the similar incident is avoided in future should be given to the committee by that date. The department to provide a detailed report outlining the mediation strategy on the medical legal claims against the state, and further detailing and outlining the professionals responsible and the consequence management in place that should be applied by the department. This should also be provided on the 28th of July, 2023. The department to provide a proper strategy to address the challenge in ambulance response time, further outlining a strategy to ensure that the locked-in allocation is appropriately implemented by the 28th of July. The department should provide a detailed report on the delays in the implementation of health information system and further outline the financial impact caused by these delays. This should also be provided on that date. On acknowledgements, and now, Chairperson, I want to thank Honorable Member MEC for Health and Wellness, Nomantun Komorale Huku, and her team led by Mr. Malotana for preparation of the fourth quarter report for 2022-2023 financial year, and the efforts made in taking the committee through the details of the report and responding to questions raised by honorable members. It is appreciated of the selfless role of the committee members for Health Portfolio Committee for their dedication and commitment. The following are appreciated: Honorable Lidzie Mogale, Honorable Kanyani, Honorable Figwe, Honorable Bloom, Honorable Machene, Honorable Khadebe, Honorable Fuchs, Honorable Duplessis, and Honorable Alberts in permanent absence. You are appreciated, sir, we understand. Last but not least, I would like to acknowledge the support staff that are supporting this committee on adoption in accordance with Rule 117, Section 2, Subsection C. Read together with Rule 164, the Health Portfolio Committee hereby recommends that the report on Gauteng Department of Health and Wellness fourth quarter report for 2022-2023 financial year be adopted by the House, considering the committee concerns and recommendations made in this report. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Any seconder to the report?
Madam Speaker, Member Bloom here to second the report.
Thank you. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All not in favor say no. The ayes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order? While we do so, can I request Honorable Malema to come and chair the sitting? Can you read the next order while we wait for Honorable Kanyile to come?
Education Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Education, financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Kanyile.
Was that? Was that? Excuse me. Was that? Education. Okay. Okay. Can we now have Education Portfolio Committee's Oversight Report? Honorable Kanyile. Okay. Presiding officer, can we jump this one now? What is the next?
Can I ask the secretary to read the next order?
Okay. Secretary, may you please read the next order?
Sport, Arts, Culture and Recreation Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture and Recreation, including its entities for the financial year 2022-2023.
Is that Honorable Kekan? Yes, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Moshabi, on behalf of Honorable T. Ndlovu, I hereby present the report on sports, arts, recreation. A request is made that part of the report not read be considered as read, and if that is allowed, the report will concentrate on the executive summary, committee concerns, committee recommendations, acknowledgements, and adoption. On executive summary, the mandate of the department, as highlighted in its mission statement, is to ensure access, increased participation and transformation of the sports, arts, culture and recreation sectors in a manner that yields optimum social and economic benefits for all in the province and promotes nation building and social cohesion among its people. The department provides sports education, arts and culture services to various stakeholders, including children, women, youth, and persons with disability, amongst others. The quota allocation for the department was 339,152,000, and of this, 222,392,000 was spent. This shows 65.57% of the budget expenditure and underspending of 116,760,000. The department has set 78 annual performance plan targets for the quarter under review, and of these, 63, which is 81%, was achieved. All programs underspent their quota budget allocation, with ultimately contributed to all programs underspending their allocated budget. On Program 1, Administration for the quarter under review, the program received an allocation of 52 million and spent 45 million. This is an expenditure of 85%. This was achieved with 65% planned targets achieved. The underspending and underperformance of this in this regard was due to delays in the procurement of goods and services in corporate service for communication and facility units. On Program 2, Cultural Affairs received a quota allocation of 85 million. The program spent 54 million, recording an expenditure of 64.2%. The underspending in this regard was due to the delays in approval of the draft major events policy and standard operating procedures and transfers to Sidibeng municipality that was not processed due to non-compliance to the service level agreement with regards to business plan and monthly reporting. The Gauteng Film Commission was allocated 14 million and the expenditure of 17 million was recorded, representing an expenditure of 116%. This has overspending of 16%. This was achieved with 13 of the 15 planned targets achieved. Program 3, Libraries and Archival Services. In the court under review, this program was allocated 70 million for the court under review and an amount of 28 million, reflecting an expenditure of 39.83% and an underspending of 42 million against the court allocation due to the vacant posts for community library service grant and delays in the implementation of infrastructure projects. On Program 4, the sports and recreation in the quarter under review, received a total allocation of 130 million and spent 94 million, which is 72.21% expenditure, with underspending of 36 million. This underspending was attributed to the delays in the finalization of the equipment and entire transversal tender by National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture for conditional grant and delays in transfer due to late registration on some central supply database by some of the football teams in the National First Division and the Premier Soccer League based in Gauteng. On committee concern, the committee is concerned with the following: the delays in the approval of the draft major events policy and standard operating procedure, resulting in 36% underspending of Program 2 of the department. 2, the target for the research report on the history of soccer was not achieved as planned. The department attributed this to the appointment of the non-compliant service provider. On 3, the recorded underspending of 42,325,000 under Program 3 due to vacant posts for the community library service grant and the delays in implementation of infrastructure projects. The transfer of Mfuleni municipality or the transfer to Mfuleni municipality for library services were not processed due to governance challenges in the municipality, thus contributing to Program 3 under expenditure for the court. The plan to have 1,000 people accessing the Gauteng virtual library was not met due to the non-renewal of e-resources, which comprise of overdrive and press reader subscription for the 2022-2023 financial year. The tender for the procurement of equipment and attire could not be finalized in the fourth quarter due to delays in the finalization of the equipment and attire transversal tender by the National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture for conditional grant. Committee recommendations. The committee recommends that the department should provide progress report on the finalization of major events policy and standard operating procedure, that department provide the committee with a status report on the research report on the history of soccer. The report should include information on the financial implication of the appointment of non-compliant service provider for the project. Provide the committee with a plan to fill vacant posts for community library service grant. Fast-track SLA issues with Mfuleni municipality for the provision of library services. Provide the committee with a status report on the renewal of e-resources subscription for the Gauteng virtual library. All these written responses, Mushabi, should be submitted by the 31st July 2023. On acknowledgements, on behalf of the chairperson Tulani Ndlovu, I wish to acknowledge the MEC Murakani Musupie and the acting HOD Mr. China Mashinini and the senior officials from the department for the presentation of the fourth quarter report and their sustained cooperation throughout the quarter reported process. The chairperson, or rather the acting chairperson on behalf of Chairperson Ndlovu, appreciate the diligent deliberation of Member Advocate Letsoalo, myself, Member Mudise, Member Chavalala, Member Pitch, Member Mukwebo, Member Masuleng, and Member Adams. Also like to thank the support staff on behalf of the Chair for their dedication and commitment to the committee work. On adoption, in accordance with Rule 1172C, read together with Rule 164, the Portfolio Committee on Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture recommends that the report on the 2022-2023 financial year fourth quarterly report be adopted by the House, considering concerns and proposed recommendation made in this report. Thank you so much, Mushabi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Acting Chairperson. Is there any seconder? Honorable Ledwaba.
I rise to second. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I now put the question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
And all those not in favor say no. The yeas have it. Secretary, you can read the next order. Can we go back to the 11th order?
Education Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Education financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Acting Chair, Member, yes, okay, Chief Whip.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Mushabi. The seat looks good on you. Honorable Mugwebo suspects is the prayers from the mountain in Limpopo. As we read this report, this will have been part of the work which has been done by our member who just passed on, Member Joan Mpisi, who served with the Education Portfolio Committee with absolute diligence and the greatest of commitment to the people of Gauteng. I'm standing here to represent the acting chairperson of the Education Portfolio Committee. Honorable T.B. Munyai has tabled the Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly performance report of the Department of Education for the 2022-2023 financial year as attached. And I would also ask Honorable Malema that parts of the report which are not read be considered as read. In the Executive Committee, the committee has noted the Gauteng Department of Education's fourth quarterly report and its commitment towards the implementation of the 2022-2023 financial year goals. In the quarter under review, the Department of Education performed an overall 75% and 25% not achieved. The key highlights for the quarter under review include: the department reported that 1,390 learners with complete applications were successfully placed in February 2023 in various districts in the province. The committee acknowledged the handing over of the newly revamped 40 million Mapenani Secondary School, which is based in the north of Tshwane in the Harankuwa. The department reported that it launched a newly multi-certification skills program that will contribute towards the skills development in the province. The committee further noted the key progress regarding the awarding of scholar transport and the school nutrition contracts by the department that was expected to be advertised by June 2023 and the process of appointment to be concluded by January 2024. The committee further noted the progress at the Rilebuhile Secondary School and the department's provision of temporary new mobile schools, ablution facilities, and the catch-up program for learners in all grades, as this was the school affected by the sinkholes in Kutzou. The department also held an event to announce the 2022 matric results in the capital of our province and country, the city of Tshwane. The committee was pleased to note that the Gauteng achieved a pass rate of 84.43%, representing a 1.7% increase or improvement from the 2021 matric results of 82.8%, and placed the province as the second best performing province in the country. 149 schools achieved 100% pass rate compared to 131 schools in the year 2021. we would like to thank the following. Therefore, Member Malema, the Portfolio Committee on Education wishes to thank MEC for Education, Honorable Matome Nkopane Chilwane, and his senior officials for the presentation of the fourth quarterly report and the substantial and sustained efforts made to inform the Portfolio Committee of the details of the quarterly report. We also want to thank one of the greatest servants of the Department of Education, the former HOD of Education, Mr. Musue, who has since been appointed as the Director General of the province, and we wish him well in his new role. The Acting Chairperson, Honorable T. Munyai, would also like to thank the honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, myself, Elma Kubela, William, Honorable Machege, Honorable Ramorefo, Honorable Dos Santos, Honorable Masilela, Honorable A. Dival, Honorable Alberts, Honorable D.K. Adams for their dedication and support during this process. The Portfolio Committee would like to also thank the group committee coordinators, Ms. Zuziwe Panzwambaro, Senior Researcher, Ms. Sakina Nenweri, Senior Committee Coordinator, Ms. Charlene Kaya, Committee Coordinators, Mr. Pello Mashilwane, Committee Administrator, Mr. Tabuke Kana, Committee Researcher, Mr. Joseph Makura, not David Makura, and all the officials that formed part of the Education Support Committee. In terms of Rule 117, 2C, read with Rule 164, the Education Portfolio Committee hereby recommends that the Gauteng Department of Education fourth quarterly report for the 2022-2023 financial year be adopted by the House, taking into account the committee concerns and proposed recommendations made in the report. Honorable Marema, thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. Is there a seconder? Honorable Member Mkheti.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. I rise to second the report.
Thank you very much. I now put the question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. And yes. All those not in favor say no. The yes have it. Thank you, Secretary. You may read the next order. Order 13.
Community Safety Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Community Safety for financial year 2022-2023.
Thank you. Honorable Masuku.
Thank you, Honorable Acting Speaker, Member Malema. On behalf of the Portfolio Committee, we hereby present a report that deals with the Department of Community Safety Oversight Report of the fourth quarterly report of the year 2020-2023. I would like to request the House to consider the parts of the report that have not been read out to be considered as read, and I will then head straight to the executive summary. The Department achieved 96% of its planned targets for the quarter and continued to conduct unannounced and announced visits in all 144 police stations in the province. The visits are to monitor the police performance overall. The department also reported that they've paid more attention to 55 priority stations which were identified by poor performance and also to assist them to improve their performance. The committee noted 450 crime dockets were analyzed and 250 GBVF cases were tracked within the criminal justice system and 3 courts watching briefs were monitored. These were intended to identify gaps in criminal investigation and improve coordination of the criminal justice system. The committee acknowledged the efforts made by the department in ensuring the implementation of the Gauteng Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, as well as providing support to victims of GBVF. 47,455 households were reached through the GBVF Brigade program to raise awareness. 89 green doors facilities were established since the inception of the program. The committee noted the various road safety enforcement operations which were conducted across the province: reckless and negligent driving, speed operations, striking driving operations, public transport operations, pedestrian operations, road and safety education were also conducted by the department. The department further reported that it had conducted various operations through Operation Malaisha to ensure law enforcement on overloaded vehicles, as they were contributing to the high number of road crashes and fatalities. The committee also noted the achievement recorded under the Operation Ukaimulau, which resulted in arrest of several suspects on various transgressions, including armed robbery, business robbery, murder, possession of stolen firearms, possession of illicit drugs, trading in liquor without licenses, as well as illegal immigrants. In addition, 1,160 operations were conducted jointly with other law enforcement agencies. This operation resulted to 116 arrests, 238 items recovered, which included vehicles used in commissions of crime, stolen vehicles, and hijacked vehicles. The department must address its vacancy rate, which was around 19.6%, with a total of 379 vacant positions at the end of the quarter under review. The high vacancy rate was unacceptable, considering the high unemployment rate in the country, particularly as unemployment has been reported again to be one of the contributory factors in high crime levels. Furthermore, the committee noted the partnerships were established between the department with Coca-Cola Beverages, South African Breweries, Business Against Crime. These partnerships are commendable and they are critical in strengthening the fight against crime. The department's overall performance, in terms of Program 1, the department achieved 7 targets of the 9. In Program 2, the department have achieved all the 24 targets which were planned for the quarter, recording 100%. On Program 3 of traffic management, the department had achieved all its 12 targets which were planned to be achieved. This was an improvement from 92% target achieved of the same term in the previous quarter. The overall performance, financial performance, the department projected budget for the quarter was 271.4 million. However, 404.5 million was spent. This marked an over expenditure by 133 million. The department year-to expenditure at the consideration of the report was 1.1 billion, recording an under expenditure of 186 million of the 1.37 billion adjusted budget allocation. The expenditure per program was as follows. Program 1 was 45.6 million. Program 2 was 82.6 million. Program 3, it was 276.3 million. This records the expenditure increase in Program 3 increased by 59%. And the over expenditure was because of the payment of goods and services, including vehicles linked to the elevated priorities and appointments of additional traffic officers. The summary of our committee findings: the committee raised the following concerns in terms of what we have received. The committee raised concern of high vacancy rate, the alarming incidents of violence in schools, the department's inability to achieve its target in reducing road crashes and fatalities. The several intervention programs were put in place to deal with GBF. This, even though the incidents were increasing constantly. We also noted with concern the 55 priority police stations with poor performance. The support of the community police forums and patrollers was lacking. The report Also, the report that 43 police vehicles were in storage facilities awaiting installation of the TETRA radio. The committee noted that the report of various publication and research projects were completed on police safety. In terms of recommendations, by the end of the 31st July 2023, the department must submit a report on progress made in filling vacant posts. It must submit a report on the impact of its school safety intervention programs, must report the impact of the road safety interventions in reducing road crashes and fatalities, must submit a report on GBVF intervention programs, must submit a comprehensive report on interventions in place made to improve the 55 priority stations. The department must strengthen and support CPFs. The department must accelerate the installation of process of TETRA radios on the 43 police vehicles that are not in their facilities. The department must submit a report on the all completed research projects by the end of the 31st July 2023. The chairperson of the Community Portfolio Committee, myself, Honorable Bima Suku, wishes to thank Honorable MEC of the Department of Community Safety, Honorable Faith Mazibuko, the HOD Nontsigelelo Sisulu, and their team for their cooperation during the committee's assessment of the department's fourth quarterly report for the year 2020-2023. Further, I wish to thank the members of the committee, Honorable Sizakele Nkosi Malubane, Sokhayile Kanyile, Honorable C. Bosch, Honorable R. Robinson, Honorable P. Mandlankomo, Honorable K. Hoffman, for their due diligence in the assessment of the quarterly report. Moreover, I would like to thank all the staff who support the committee in all their different capacities. In terms of Rule 117, Section 2, Subsection C, read together with Rule 164 of the Standing Rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the committee hereby presents this report to the House for adoption, consideration, and proposed recommendations made on the report. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson Dr. Masuku. Is there any seconder? Madam Chair of Committees? Thank you. I now put the question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those not in favor say no. The yes have it. Secretary, you may read the next order. Honorable Deputy Speaker, may I graciously request that you assent to preside over the House proceeding?
Social Development Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Social Development for financial year 2022-2023.
Honorable Chair, Mkheti.
Thank you very much, Honorable Acting Speaker. I, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, will be tabling the report on behalf of the Portfolio Committee on Social Development Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Department of Social Development for the 2022-2023 financial year. Honorable Acting Speaker, I'm going to request that parts of the report that I'm not going to be taken as tabled by the House. The department continues to lead the coordination of social protection imperatives outlined in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the National Development Plan Vision 2030 that are implemented through the medium-term framework through Priority 4, consolidating the social wage through reliable and quality basic services. The department further considered the Gauteng City Region a 10-pillar program of transformation, modernization, reindustrialization, accelerated social transformation strategy, and Gauteng province anti-poverty strategy. The committee acknowledged that during the period under review, the department continued to ensure its contribution to the TEPO 1 million youth through internships, expanded public works program, and welfare to work programs by developing youth, women, and persons with disabilities potential through incorporating them to other development initiatives. A total of 7,168 work opportunities were created through the EPWP program, and 16,777 welfare to work participants were reached. The department further reported to have paid 98.87 suppliers within 30 days and 87.23% suppliers within 15 days to ensure that SMME's cash flow and financial sustainability is improved. During the period under review, 5,805 older persons were reached in residential facilities, and 19,951 older persons were also reached through services provided by funded community-based care and support facilities. The committee acknowledged that 3,811 persons with disabilities were reached through the protective workshops, and 44 were also reached through the residential facilities. In mitigating the HIV impact on our communities, the department funded NPOs that render home-based and community-based care and support services to people infected and affected by HIV and AIDS. The committee acknowledged that the department provided 155,697 food parcels and 30,755 daily meals to alleviate hunger and poverty during the quarter under review. The committee noted with concern that the department has provided 30,755 daily meals to home-based care centers against the planned target of 32,200 in the quarter under review. According to the department, the underperformance was as a result of fewer beneficiaries who accessed the program and suspension of non-profit organizations who did not comply with the requirements. On financial performance, during the 2022-2023 financial year, the department has been allocated an amount of 5,537,037,000. During the quarter under review, the department managed to spend 1,528,791,000 across all programs, representing 93% of the allocated budget under the quarter, in the quarter under review. In terms of the expenditure per program, the committee acknowledged that on administration, the department managed to spend 98% on social welfare. The department spent 100% on children and families. The department spent 97%. On restorative services, the department spent 90%. And lastly, on the development and research, the department spent 98%. On GOD, the committee acknowledged that on procurement targets that are related to historically disadvantaged individuals, the department managed to spend 90.55% on women, 42.58% on youth, 30.34% on people with disabilities, and 6.18%. The committee further acknowledged that the department reported to have paid 98.87% of its services providers within 30 days. And on 15 days, it was 87.23%. And the department reported also that they have spent 50.97% during the quarter under review on the township economy. In relation to conditional grants, the committee acknowledged that the department has spent 100% of EPWP incentive grant. During the period under review, the department reported to have conducted HIV/AIDS programs reaching out to 35% females, 65% of other participants were 35% males, 65% females, and 16.0%, which is people with disabilities. And on youth, they spent 20%. The department further reported to have conducted victim empowerment programs reaching to 133,349 males, 884,051 females, 9,699 youth, 1,001,324, and 1,243 persons with disabilities. During the period under review, the committee acknowledged that the department had a total of 5,644 posts. A total of 5,151 posts have been filled, while 493 posts are still vacant at the end of the quarter. The department further reported that it had 473 terminations. I should suppose that those were fixed term, and 68 appointments were done, and there was one person acting during the period under review. On committee concerns with respect to termination of contracts to NPOs who did not comply with funding requirements, the committee is concerned that the termination might have affected the most vulnerable beneficiaries, who happen to be women and children. On recommendations, the department should provide a detailed report on the NPOs that had their contracts or SLAs terminated, and remedial action that was done by the department to make sure that beneficiaries that were receiving the services from these NPOs are receiving services. The response is expected on the 31st of July 2023. On acknowledgement, Honorable Speaker, the committee would like to thank the MEC of Social Development, Honorable Mbali Hlophe, and the acting HOD, Ntate Kavasia, and officials of the department. I would also like to express my appreciation to members of the committee, T. Magagula, Aaron Sehe, R. Kekana, B. Badenhorst, D. Ledwaba, B. Engelbrecht, J. Meller, and D. Adams for their commitment to the oversight process. I commend them for their diligence during the deliberations on the fourth quarter report. The committee would also like to thank officials that support the committee: Aim Jaka, S. Mwala, Zeim Panchwambalo, S. Nolweni, N. Jigolo, J. Muloi, Tinzuke, D. Ngwenya, N. Klebi, L. Mantata, K. Tulu, and M. Makwela for their dedication in assisting the committee to achieve its mandate. On adoption, after extensive deliberation, the Social Development Committee adopted the fourth quarter report on the Department of Social Development for 2022-2023 financial year in accordance with Rule 117, subsection 2C, read together with Rule 164. The Social Development Portfolio Committee tables the report to the House for consideration and adoption, considering the concerns and the proposed recommendations made in the report. I thank you.
Is there a seconder?
Deputy Speaker, I'm rising to second the report. Thank you.
Is that Member Nsege? Oh, okay.
Yes, Deputy Speaker, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I now ask the question. Those who agree with the adoption, say aye. Aye. Those who do not agree with the adoption, say no. The ayes have it. Secretary, please read the next order.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Order number 15 is the Oversight Committee on the Office of the Premier and the Legislature Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature for the 2022-2023 financial year.
Honourable Dlamini.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker and Honourable Premier and abstention members of the Executive and Honourable members. Can I ask that the parts of the report that I will not be taken as read, and also make you aware, Madam Speaker, that I'm using a hotspot because of load shedding. There's a bit noise where I am. The financial performance of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature reflect an expenditure of 179.10 million, which represents 86.1% of the budget allocation of 208.5 million, with 28.9 million underspending in the quarter under review. The GPL recorded an underspending of 13.9%, with compensation of employees underspending by 2.1% due to unfilled vacancies. Outstanding 2021-22 payment progression of PO7 and PO8 staff members and lower than projected payments of 2021-2022 pay progression of the P09 and P16 staff members. Based on the outcome of the verification and the audit of the IPMS submissions and portfolios of evidence, it is concerning that unfilled vacant positions have been a contributing factor to underspending since the beginning of the financial year, with GPL citing that due to the value creation project underway, a moratorium was placed on filling vacant positions until aligned organizational structures is approved for implementation. Goods and services underspent by 19 million or 20.3%, mostly due to committee activities, gender-responsive budgeting, on-site training in Italy trip postponement to April 2023, communication and PPP strategy, chairperson of committee's internal study tour to Angola, chairperson of committee's review session and members travel benefit fund, unallocated funds following verification and audit of the 2021-2022 travel for political parties. Capital asset underspent by 7.9% or 99% due to audiovisual equipment for caucus rooms, tender validification date expiring, and the tender will be re-advertised. ITC strategy delayed delivery of generator due to stock shortages in the country, delayed procurement processes for a new access card machine, and procurement of Hansard MacBooks. The committee notes that in terms of the financial performance of Program 4 core business received a second largest budget of 73.2 million and has spent 69.5 million, which is 94%, underspending by 3.7 million, which is it represents 5.1%, and the Office of the CFO has spent a total of amount of 11.6 million, which is 80% against a budget allocation of 14 million, underspending by 2 million. The committee notes that the GPL has collected a total amount of 11.9 million for the quarter under review. The reported revenue was collected mostly from interest received from favorable bank balances at 7.4 million, investment interest at 3.9 million, parking income at 466,000, and sales of assets at 109,000. The GPL collected a total amount of 36.8 million. The non-financial performance of the GPL reflects that 15 targets were achieved against 20 planned. The underachievement recorded is with respect to the adoption of the committee inquiry report, HR strategy implementation, leadership initiatives implementation, interlegislative relations, strategy implementation, integrated communications, and PPP strategy implementation. The GPL reported that the milestone of leadership initiatives implementation plan and HR strategy implementation plan will be implemented in the next financial year. The adoption of the committee inquiry report was not achieved due to extended days in sourcing technical experts, but administrative procedures are underway. In terms of preferential procurement, the committee notes that the GPL achieved 68% of the target of 60 for historically disadvantaged individuals. The people with disadvantage achieved 1% against a target of 0.550%. Youth achieved 10% as planned. Township spend achieved 33% against a target of 10, and women achieved 34% against a target of 30. The committee also notes that 1,255 payments of service providers were processed during the quarter under review, with 1,191 paid within 15 days, 40 paid within 30 days, and 24 paid within after 30 days. The GPL continued to engage stakeholders and the public through the implementation of the interlegislative relations, as well as the integrated communication and public participation and petition strategies. In the quarter under review, the quarterly session of the Gauteng Speakers Forum was convened under the theme Collaboration with Organs of State. The meeting was attended by speakers of municipal council, Office of the Premier, the Provincial Electoral Officer of the Independent Electoral Commission, Department of Home Affairs and Foundation named Growth Without a Father. The GPL participated in the Legislative Support Services Task Team meetings, Secretaries Forum, Executive Committee meetings, the Legislature Collective Bargaining Council, delegates from the Parliament of Uganda and the Northwest were hosted to share best practices in the legislature. The findings and the concerns of the committee: the committee note with concern the underspending against the fourth quarter under review and annual expenditure that suggests the need for improved budget planning and better alignment between performance and budgeting. The recommendations of the committee are as follows: that should be submitted to the House by the 30th of July 2023. The GPL should provide the committee with answers as to what will be the impact of the underspending against the fourth quarter and the annual expenditure in achieving its objective, and what plans are in place to improve budget planning and alignment. Provide the committee with plans to ensure improvement on the spending of the capital assets, given that less than 0.5% of the available budget was spent. We would like to acknowledge the cooperation of the Speaker, the Honorable Mehwe, and the Provincial Secretary, Ms. Kosana. I would also like to thank the following members of the committee for their contribution in the work of the committee: Honorable Makubela, Honorable Hassan, Honorable Macheke, Honorable Itwaba, Honorable Malema, Honorable Msimang, Honorable Bloom, Honorable Flux, Honorable Makwala, Honorable Masilela, Honorable Alberts, and Honorable Adams. And also like to thank the group committee coordinator, Ms. Vass, Ms. Montisi, Ms. Mahato, Mr. Mohale, Ms. Zamini, Mr. Nechivuyo, Mr. Sitole, Ms. Soni, Ms. Zondo, Ms. Singh, Ms. Nkatisi, Mr. Simelane, for their commitment during this process. After due consideration, the committee unanimously adopted its report on the fourth quarter performance report of the GPL for 2022-2023 financial year. In terms of Rule 164, the committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the report. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Deputy Speaker.
Is there a seconder?
I rise to second the report, Madam Deputy Speaker. Member Msimang.
Thank you. I now put the question. Those who are in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those who are not in favor say no. Thank you. The ayes have it. Secretary, please take us to the next order.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Order number 16 is the Oversight Committee on the Office of the Premier and the Legislature Oversight Report on the fourth quarterly report of the Office of the Premier for the 2022-2023 financial year.
Honorable Dlamini.
Thank you once more, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I would ask that the other parts of the report that I have not read will be taken as read. I'll just go straight to the executive summary. The assessment of the Office of the Premier's fourth quarterly performance report for 2022-2023 financial year provides the committee with a picture on whether the execution of the delivery program is in line with the allocated budget, has fulfilled commitments and plans set out in the ATP to ensure service delivered to the citizens of Gauteng. Therefore, this report serves as key verification mechanism for the committee in relation to sound planning of the department. It is noted that the Office of the Premier did not produce the targeted first quarterly report on the implementation of the TEPO 1 million program in the quarter under review. The office reported that deviation from this target was due to evidence failure to meet consistency test in terms of the reported figures. This was due to discrepancy on the misalignment with the set targets in the MOU signed between the Office of the Premier and Harambee, which resulted in the non-acceptance of the evidence provided. The office reported that in mitigating these variants, the partnership with Harambee was amicably terminated with effect from the 31st of March 2023, and a transition plan to wind down ATM is underway. A total of 766.6 million transferred to Harambee were made until 31st March 2023. The Office of the Premier highlighted that payments to Harambee were activated based on the performance report submitted to as evidence. The committee is of the view that the TEPO 1 million project's key metrics was in relation to real jobs created, not placing young youth in the existing jobs, which was the main weakness of Harambe. The Office of the Premier further explained that the new political leadership of the Gauteng province have implemented a new strategic direction in addressing youth unemployment, which is aligned with Harambe. The program has been remodeled with the development of a new Gauteng Youth Integrated Strategy and will be housed in the Gauteng Department of Education going forward. The Office of the Premier should explain the reasons for developing a new Gauteng Youth Integrated Strategy instead of amending the existing one, since public funds were utilized in its compilation. It is noted that GPG is keen to accelerate skills-based and skills development programs to invest in school development to move with the new era that requires critical skills that have been the potential to create jobs. The Office of Premier explained that exiting the TEPO 1 million beneficiaries will continue with the program through South African Youth Mobi platform housed in the presidency. Clear understanding is crucial that solving youth unemployment will not only be through government interventions, but a social compact and labor must as well be involved. The committee is interested to know the role of Gauteng Youth Panel in the skills-based approach that the GPG is pursuing, and what are the plans in place on information data collected during the public awareness campaigns in Gauteng Youth Integrated Strategy that the panel conducted across the 5 regions of Gauteng, as it was reported during the committee feedback session on the 19th of January 2023. It is noted that the Office of the Premier managed to pay 99.9% of the 371 valid invoices within 15 days and 100% within 30 days and from the date of receipt. In terms of the preferential procurement spending, the committee notes that the commendable achievement in women, black people, youth, and township spend in the quarter under review improved on the achievement of the preferential procurement spending of 6% against the target of 7% of people with disability as compared to the previous quarter achievement of only 4% is noted and welcomed. However, the GPG department's preferential procurement spending of 1.3% of the PW of the people with disability is concerning, as this is the last the quarter of 2022-2023 financial year. The committee will track and monitor this performance to ensure that the Office of the Premier's commitment to improving this target in the next few months comes to fruition, as per the report given that efforts were made to identify institutions and role players in the market to increase the KPI of this designated group. The economic slump in the province is noted with concern, and this challenge is getting worse countrywide. This is the indication that the province is not moving forward in terms of economic growth and job creation, and there is a need to look deeper on the reason why the economy is not growing. Serious attention should be on turnaround strategy to avoid stumbling blocks and huge problems that may arise with regard to the economic advantage. The committee concerns and the committee findings. The committee's concerns that the remodeling of the TEPO 1 million program, which should be housed in the Gauteng Department of Education, will include the development of the new Gauteng Youth Integrated Strategy. What are the reasons for developing a new strategy instead of amending the existing one, since public funds were utilized in its compilation? What is the role of the Gauteng Youth Panel in the new direction of skills-based approach that the GPG is taking? How does the Office of the Premier aim to utilize information data that the panel has already collated across the 5 regions through the public awareness campaigns? Furthermore, did Harambe receive payment based on the findings related to discrepancies on mismanagement of set targets on the reported during the Ocpol feedback session in January 2023? Oh, sorry about that. Did Harambee receive payment based on the findings related to discrepancies on misalignment of set targets on the report it submitted that resulted in the termination of the contract? The committee of the Office of the Premier recorded 0% instead of the targeted 85% registered CoGTA CDWs using the CRM system in the quarter under review due to the failure of evidence to meet the consistency test, which was therefore not accepted. What is the impact of the non-achievement of this target on service delivery and the mitigating plan to ensure the target is achieved? Overspending under Program 3, Police and Governments, even when non-achievement of 7 out of 28 plan targets was recorded under this program in the quarter under review. The committee is concerned about a lack of proper planning under this program, and it's of the view that the postponement of transfer of payments to GCRO and SEPO 1 million from the third quarter to the fourth quarter included the allocated budget of these KIPs, which should not have affected the quarter 4 overspending. The annual perception survey was not produced in the quarter under review as planned. The utilization of media monitoring to gauge residents' perception of government is not enough and not acceptable. It is not included in all government Gauteng citizens. The committee therefore recommends that by the 31st of July 2023, the Office of the Premier should provide the House provide reasons for developing a new Gauteng Youth Integrated Development Strategy instead of amending the existing one, since public funds were utilized in its compilation. The report should explain the plan in place for the Gauteng Youth Panel in the new direction of skills-based approach that GPG is taking. In addition, explain how the information data that the panel has already collected across the 5 regions of Gauteng, 2 public awareness campaigns conducted on Gauteng Youth Integrated Development Strategy will be utilized. The report should further explain whether Harambee received payment based on the findings related to discrepancies on misalignment of set targets on the report it submitted that culminated in the termination of the contract. Provide a report on service delivery impact on recording 0% instead of the targeted 85% registered CoGTA CTWs using the CRM system in the quarter under review due to the failure of evidence to meet the consistency test, which was not accepted. Provide a report on the reasons that led to overspending under Program 3, Policy and Governance, even when under achievement of 7 out of 28 plan targets was recorded in the quarter under review. The report would explain why the postponement of transfer of payments to GCRO and SEPO 1 million from the third quarter to the fourth quarter affected the fourth quarter overspending since
Thank you,
postponement.
Honorable Dlamini.
Okay, on recommendations, on adoption, I'm trying to skip a minute. In accordance with Rule 16 of the Standing Rules of the GPL, the committee hereby present the report to the House for adoption.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
I rise to second, Member Msimanga.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Msimang. I now put the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those who are not in favor say no. The ayes have it. Secretary, please read the next order.
Consideration of parts of the Community Safety Committee report on the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill G003-2020.
Member Masugu.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. The presentation is of the report of the Committee of Community Safety on the Oversight Bill that was presented to the Committee for processing. The Gauteng Community Safety Bill is a private member bill introduced at the Gauteng Provincial Legislature in terms of Section 119 of the Constitution, read together with the Rule 196, subsection 1 of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature Standing Rules. The bill is said to be intended to provide for carrying out the regulation of the function of the province and the Department of Community Safety under Chapter 11 of the South African Constitution. Also to provide support and cooperation with the Civilian Secretariat and the Provincial Secretariat established in terms of the Civilian Secretariat for Police Service Act number 2 of 2011. The bill was formally referred to the Community Safety Committee and the Committee on Scrutiny and Subordinate Legislation for processing and reporting. The Community Safety Committee facilitated the assessment of the process of the bill through public engagement. This report thus provides a summary of the committee assessment and opinion on the bill. The process followed was formally, the process that was formally actually followed. The bill was presented to the committee on the 10th of 2021 by the then member sponsor, Honorable Member Shackleton. This presentation was followed by a research analysis on the potential socio-economic impact which might emanate from the bill. Also, the NCOP and the legal unit provided the legal opinion on the bill. With accordance to the standing rules of GPL, the bill was gazetted for general information and inviting public inputs. As required by legislation, the committee conducted public hearings to solicit stakeholder submissions on the bill. The public hearings were conducted as follows: on the 3rd of February 2022 at Cullinan Library Park in Tshwane, on the 8th February 2022 on the Centenary Wall in Krugersdorp in West Rand, on the 17th March at Chief Albert Lutuli Primary School in Benoni in Ekurhuleni. At the public hearings, written and oral submissions were received from various stakeholders, amongst others the Gauteng Department of Community Safety, South African Police Service, Gauteng Civilian Secretariat for Police, South African Human Rights Commission, AfriForum, Independent Police Investigating Directorate, Community Safety Forums, and patrol teams. The committee further sought an independent legal opinion on the bill from an external senior counsel for further advice on any possible constitutional challenges. The external legal opinion was submitted to the committee on the 17th February 2023. The committee considered the schedule of the amendments on the bill on the 4th of August 2022 and the 23rd of March 2023, respectively. On Monday, the 27th of March 2023, the committee deliberated and adopted its first draft of the report to the bill. The committee further met on the 5th of May for further deliberation and adoption of the bill. The bill was not conclusively supported by the committee. Dissenting opinions were noted, whilst other members supported the bill with amendments. Others were not in support of the bill in its entirety. The bill was introduced with the following implication as noted under. The bill is considered to be a duplication of existing legislation. This attributed to the fact that objectives of the bill as introduced are already provided for in the Independent Police Investigating Directorate Act 1 of 2011 and the Civilian Secretariat for the Police Service Act 2 of 2011. The bill proposes the establishment of the Office of the Ombudsman. This demonstrates that resources will have to be allocated for, amongst others, office accommodation, business tools, compensation of personnel, and general day-to-day operations of the office to ensure optimal functionality of that Office of the Ombudsman. The function of the Ombudsman, as proposed in the bill, are already discharged by the Independent Police Investigative Directorate. Section 6, subsection 8 of the proposed bill states that the MEC may provide funding, training, resource to a neighborhood watch. This implies that additional funding must be sourced and allocated to support the functionality of the neighborhood structures. On behalf of the committee, I extend gratitude to all stakeholders who participated during the processing and consideration of this bill. I further acknowledge and express my gratitude of members of the committee for their cooperation and diligence in the assessment of this bill and processing of this bill, namely Honorable N. Mhlagaza Manamela, Honorable S. Nkosi Malobane, Honorable S. Kanyile, Honorable C. Bosch, Honorable R. Robinson, Honorable Lebucheng Musoleng, Honorable D. Mandlankomo, Honorable J. Hoffman, and my appreciation is extended to the staff that supports the committee of the legislature. After deliberation by the committee tables its report on Community Safety Oversight Bill in accordance with Rule 167, read together with 168 to the House, and recommends. Thank you.
Is there a seconder?
I rise to second.
Thank you, Honorable Kanyile. And I'll put the question. All those in favor say aye. Those who are not in favor, those who are not in favor say no. The ayes have it. Secretary, please take us to the next order.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Order number 18 is the consideration of the Committee for the Scrutiny of Subordinate Legislation report on the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill G003-2020 as it relates to regulations.
Honorable Member Letsimo Khale.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I'm going to request that parts of the report that I'm not going to read be regarded as read. On introduction, on the 11th of August 2020, a former member of the Provincial Legislature, Honorable J.C. Moodley, introduced the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill, Bill G003 of 2020, which is the bill, in the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. In terms of Rule 200, subsection 3C of the Standing Rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the Speaker of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature formally referred the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill for consideration and reporting to the Joint Committee. The committee's report is sanctioned by Rule 235, subsection 1, which provides for the CSSL to consider a provision that grants power to adopt subordinate legislation to ensure that they meet the requirements of Rule 235, subsection 2, and Rule 237, subsection 2 provides that the report of the Committee for the Scrutiny of Subordinate Legislation on the bill must be tabled in the House together with the report on the bill of the relevant portfolio committee. The CSSL considered the clause 39 or 31 of the bill, which was an empowering provision that grants power to the MEC to make regulations on the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill. The process followed. The Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill was referred by the Speaker, Honorable N. Mekwe, in terms of Rule 155, 1, 2, and 3 of the Standing Rules to the Standing Committee on Scrutiny of Subordinate Legislation for consideration and reporting on the 15th of July 2020. On Tuesday, the 29th of June 2021, a committee meeting was convened to consider the presentation on the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill 2020. The committee further received a legal opinion and socio-economic analysis on the Section 31 of the bill. After careful deliberations, the committee decided to note the bill as presented so as to consider inputs and comments gathered from the public hearings convened by the Joint Committee. The Joint Committee undertook public hearings on the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill in the regions of the province as follows: Kalinen, Library Park, in Swane in February 2022, Centenary Hall, Krugersdorp in February 2022, Ekurhuleni on the 17th of March 2022. Stakeholders made oral and written submissions on the bill. However, there were no submissions which related to the empowering provision of the bill that the committee needed to take into consideration. The committee further noted the provision of Section 31 of the bill as detailed in the report. The socio-economic analysis on the enabling provision, the committee noted that all the aspects of the Section 31 of the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill have included necessary aspects needed to fully operationalize the bill. The socio-economic impact thereof could not be fully determined, and the department was, however, encouraged to continuously consider the social and economic impact when drafting regulations. The legal implications of the bill, the committee, through the prism of this constitutional and legislative metrics, analyzed the Clause 31 and concluded as follows. The proposed Clause 31A be revised to read as follows: to avoid any ambiguity or endowing the MEC with plenary legislative powers, I open quote, the MEC may make regulations not inconsistent with this act, prescribing A, matters required or permitted to be prescribed under this act, close quote, the word methodology under Clause 31B, D, be deleted and replaced with the word procedure. D, the methodology for conducting an investigation of complaints submitted in terms of Section 16. Paragraph H was deleted as it was largely covered by paragraph G, and paragraph I was also deleted as paragraph A have covered it. This was to avoid any ambiguity or even possibly giving the MEC unintended plenary legislative powers. The committee position, the committee noted that during the public hearings proceedings, there were no comments raised which relates to the regulations. The committee further noted that the amended Section 31 of the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill was in line with the legislative drafting principles. On acknowledgement, special thanks are due to all honorable members of the committee and also the committee staff for their diligence and participation in preparing this report. On adoption, in accordance with Rules 163, 164, and 201 of the Standing Rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the CSSL presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the committee report on the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill of 2020. I thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Honorable Member.
I rise to second, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. I now put the question. Those who are in favor say aye. Those who are not in favor say no.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Secretary, please take us to the next order.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Order number 19 is the Community Safety Committee's report on the principle of the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill, G003-2020.
Honorable Masuku.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. On the principle of the bill seeks to regulate and to provide for the carrying out of the functions of the province referred to in Section 206, subsection 1, subsection 3, subsection 4, subsection 5, and subsection 9, and 207, subsection 5 and subsection 6 of the Constitution, to determine policing needs and priorities, monitor police conduct, oversee the effectiveness and efficiency of the police service, including receiving reports on the police service, promote good relations between the police and the community, assess the effectiveness of visible policing, investigate any complaints of police inefficiency or breakdown in relations between the police and any community, require the provincial commissioner to report to and appear before the provincial legislature, and institute proceedings for the removal or transfer or disciplinary action against the provincial commissioner, support the objective of the civilian secretariat and provincial secretariat, and further the power of oversight over the South African Police Service by allowing for the appointment of the independent investigators into matters of community safety. I thank you.
Here. Oh, sorry. I now put the question on the principle of Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill G003B 2020. All those in favor say yes.
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 Yes. Those who are not in favor say no. The yes have it. Secretary, please read the fourth order.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Order number 20 is the consideration of the detail of each clause by clause of the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill G003 2020.
The details of the bill, clause by clause. Clause number 1, this is a definition clause and was adopted as introduced. Clause number 2, this clause deals with the purpose of the bill and adopted as introduced. Clause number 3, this clause deals with the function of the MEC for community safety and adopted as introduced. Clause 4 provides for the MEC to authorize employees of the provincial department and other persons to monitor police conduct, including conduct in respect of persons held in police custody, to oversee and assess police service and evaluate relations between the police and the community, and was adopted as introduced. Provides for the issuing of directives for the establishment of the community police forums and boards as referred to in section 19, 20 and 21 of the South African Police Service Act, was adopted as introduced. Provides for the voluntary accreditation and support of the neighborhood watches in Gauteng in order to promote good relations between the police and the communities, and was adopted as amendment. Clause 7 provide for the maintenance of the database of community organizations that are involved in policing, support of victims of crime, crime prevention, community safety in the province, and was adopted with amendments. Provide for the establishment and administration and maintenance an integrated information system by the MEC and the provincial department, was adopted as introduced. Provide measures to ensure the confidentiality of personal information obtained from the neighborhood watches, security service providers and other organizations through the integrated information system, was adopted with amendments. Provide for the establishment of the Office of the Gauteng Provincial Police Ombudsman and the appointment of the Ombudsman by the Premier after consultation with the MEC, the Provincial Commissioner and the Executive Heads of Municipal Police Services, subject to the concurrence of the Provincial Legislature Portfolio Committee responsible for community safety, was adopted as introduced. Provide for the establishment of the Office of the Gauteng Provincial Police Ombudsman, the appointment of the Ombudsman by the Premier, with the MEC and the Provincial Commissioner and the Executive Heads of the Municipal, subject to concurrence and Portfolio Committee responsible for community safety, was adopted as introduced. Provide for the establishment of the Office of the Gauteng Provincial Office Ombudsman and the appointment of the Ombudsman after the consultation with the MEC, the Commissioner, the Executive Heads of Municipal Police Services, and subject to concurrence with the Portfolio Committee. So, clause 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, all of them are almost similar, except that in 18, as I continue, it also provides for the Ombudsman designated investigators to direct any person to submit an affidavit or affirmed declaration or to appear before him or her to give evidence or to produce any document that has a bearing on a matter under investigation was adopted with amendments. 19 provides for various mandatory reports to be submitted by the Provincial Commissioner of the SAPS to the MEC. It also requires the Provincial Commissioner to submit the annual report regarding policing in the province. This clause refers to the power of the provincial executive in terms of Section 207, subsection 6 of the Constitution. If the provincial executive has lost confidence in the provincial commissioner, was adopted with amendments. Clause 21 provides for similar reporting requirements to those referred to in Clause 19, but in relation to municipal police service established in Section 64A of the South African Police Service Act. It requires that the various executive heads of the municipal police services in the province submit their certain regulatory mandatory reports to the MEC. Provides for the MEC to keep a register recording written reports and recommendations made to the Minister of Police, written requests for information directed to the Provincial Commissioner or any executive head of municipal police service, and any written comment or response received in respect thereof. Clause 23 provides for the determination of the province policing needs of the and the priorities. Section 206, subsection 1 of the Constitution provides the national minister responsible for policing must determine national policing policy after consulting the provincial governments and taking account the policing needs and priorities of the province. Clause 24 provides for the exercise of provincial oversight of the police in accordance with principle of cooperative governance. Clause 25 provides for the establishment of the Provincial Safety Advisory Committee. Clause 26 provides for the establishment of the Provincial Safety Advisory Committee. Clause 27 is the same, with the establishment of Provincial Safety Advisory Committee. Clause 28 is also looking at that. Clause 29 provides for making appropriate awards to any community member. Clause 30 creates an offense for hindering, obstructing ombudsman. Clause 31 authorizes the MEC to make regulations. Clause 32 provides for the delegation of any power conferred to the MEC. Clause 33, this clause contains the bill short title and provides for the proclamation of the date of its coming into operation. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Can we have the next order?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Order number 21 is the decision on each clause of the Gauteng Committee Safety Oversight Bill, G003, 2020.
Thank you. Rule 213, subsection 1 indicates as follows. The question on each clause of a bill must be put and determined in the same order in which the clause were considered. I will put a question on each clause, and members are required to either say yes or nay in response to my question. I now put the question on clause 1. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
And all not in favor say no.
No. No.
No.
No. Yes. 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 No.
I now put a question on clause 2. All those in favor say yes. All those not in favor say no.
Yes. 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 No. Yes.
I now put the question on clause 3. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those not in favor say no.
No. No.
I now put the question on clause 4. All those in favor say yes.
Yes. Yes.
All not in favor say no.
No.
I now put the question on clause 5. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All not in favor say no. No. The ayes have it. I now put the question on clause 6. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The ayes have it. I now put the question on clause 7. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All those not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put the question on clause 8. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put the question on clause 9. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put question on clause 10 to 18. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put the question on clause 19. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All those not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put the question on clause 20. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put the question on clause 21. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put question on clause 22. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put a question on clause 23. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put the question on clause 24. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put the question on 25, clause 25 to 28. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put the question on clause 29. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All those not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put the question on clause 30. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put a question on clause 31. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put the question on clause 32. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. I now put the question on clause 33. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. Can we have the next order? Hallelujah.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Order number 22 is the motion in terms of Rule 117, Sub-Rule 2A, read with Rule 205 and Rule 215, on the adoption of the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill, G003-2020.
Honourable Bosch.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I, Honourable Krizan Bosch, wish to table the following motion in terms of Rule 1172A of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature Standing Rules for the adoption of the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill G003B to 2023, that this House adopts the Gauteng Community Safety Oversight Bill. I so move.
I now put the question on the adoption of the bill as read out by Member Bosch. All those in favor say yes.
Who's seconding?
Yes. All not in favor say no. The noes have it. The Gauteng Community Safety Bill G00B of 2020 is not adopted by the House. The next order. Oh, 23. Oh, this one was fell off. Okay. Okay. Colleagues, thank you very much. Thank you, colleagues. That concludes the business of the day. The next meeting will be on Tuesday, the 8th of August, 2023, at 10 sharp. 8 August. Don't clap hands, colleagues. This is a constituency break. It's not a, colleagues, this is not a holiday. It is a constituency break. Thank you very much. The House is adjourned.
Alona original man. Lo utswa di agents a ANC.